Welcome to the Face Music Podcast. What's up, everybody? My name is Matt, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we have the Week 15 Top 10s. This week's special guest, hard rock band Pathmaker. We talk songwriting, favorite show moments, inspiration, the band's favorite songs to play live, and much more. Stay tuned, Week 15. You ready? Let's do it. What is up, my friends? We are officially in June. I cannot believe how quickly this year is going. January feels like yesterday, and now here we are, almost at the halfway point of 2025. Almost 2026. Fuck, man. I hope everybody's having a good year. I hope you're reaching your goals and succeeding at whatever it is you want to succeed in. If you're just figuring it out, if you need a break, hey man, you know what? That's totally okay too. Do you take the reset, figure it out? You might as well make it count, right? That's what I'm doing. We really aren't meant to work and miss life, you know? You should work to fulfill your needs, not need to work, you know? We gotta enjoy the shit once in a while, and if you're unhappy, grab it by the horns and find a way to make life work for you. But in the meantime, let's put all the worries aside for a little bit. Let's get into this week's episode. Thank you again to my friends at Monolith Zero for coming on the show last week. It was a lot of fun. I love those dudes. I look forward to having them on again sometime. I'm definitely looking forward to another collaboration on some hot sauce for them. For those who don't know, I used to make hot sauce. That was the thing. That was Face the Music before it was a podcast. So it was Face the Music Hot Sauce. And Monolith Zero was the only band that hired me to make a sauce for them. They took a chance on me, and I love them for that. I respect them for that. And they hit me up again about it. So, we talked a little bit about it in the episode. It will happen in the future. We will start planning that out, and you can grab a bottle, hopefully by the end of the year, if things go the way they're supposed to go. But, with that background, I also want you guys to know that for MGR Fest, I will have a Face the Music podcast blend exclusive for MGR Fest, so keep an eye out for that. Any overflow, I'm definitely going to be selling, independently as well. But if you're going to the festival, pick up a bottle. But back to Monolith, I just want to say they are one of the most driven bands out there. I loved getting to pick their brains and get to know them individually a little better, get to know Andre and Ethan a little better, and stay tuned because I do believe that there are things coming out very soon that fans of the band will be interested in. For my first timers, welcome to the Face the Music family. I'm very happy that you found your way here. When you're listening, it's our time to just hang out together. So forget about the insanity of life. Forget about all the negativity, all the bullshit. This is a politics-free podcast. I'm only here to talk to you about music, not rage bait. And for all my returning listeners, welcome back, my friends. Thank you for listening week after week after week. And thank you for joining me once again for another episode of the Face Music Podcast. You guys know what's up by now. You know what I'm all about. I love you guys. Kick back and relax. It's Friday. Whether you work weekends or not, get in that Friday state of mind. Crack open a cold one. Leave your life stresses at the door. Forget about work, about your bills. Forget about someone giving you a hard time about some shit. Let's just enjoy the hang together. After the episode's done, go crank the Face Music Top 10s playlist featuring every band that you hear on the show. Just turn life off for a while. You deserve it. Whether this is your first episode or your 15th, I am humbly and kindly asking you for your support. There's a few very fast and very free ways to do this. 1. Follow the podcast on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. 2. Interact with posts, even if it's something as little as liking it or vote on a poll. And 3. Lastly, share something. If you listen to the show, odds are you know somebody else who would like it. So, tell them what's up. I appreciate all the love and support, and I'll never take that for granted. You guys are the absolute best. I started this podcast 14 weeks ago. It's new-ish. But it is a product of a major life change, losing my job. Now, I have talked about this a little bit on the show here and there. Yes, it is still very upsetting all these months later. It was a very traumatic thing for me, truthfully. It wasn't just a job. It was something I gave my heart and soul to for a very long time, and it set back a lot of the positive changes that were in motion for my wife and I this year. To keep it 100% honest with you, I was extremely depressed, my anxiety was through the roof, and I had no idea how to make the next move. I found a lot of solace in starting this podcast. It helped me talk it out, to let go of what was keeping me down in life, and it allowed me to grow and discover a bit more about myself. Very much like seeking therapy. A therapist will listen to you, they will ask questions, and they'll help you see things from a new perspective. They can give you advice and techniques to help make positive changes in your life. BetterHelp is the sponsor of this video, and they're on a mission to start making therapy easier. Fill out a questionnaire, and you'll match with a therapist in as little as a couple days. Easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost if it's not the right fit for you. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/facethemusic and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I appreciate what you do for so many people. Being as May is Mental Health Awareness Month, it is very important. This month as well as every month, by the way. I'm an advocate for taking care of your mental health 12 months a year, 365 days a year. It's so important, guys. It really is. Find an outlet. If you don't have an outlet, talk to somebody. If you can't talk to somebody, please go higher. Go talk to a therapist. There's no shame in it. There should never be shame in it. It's not a stigma. You need to take care of you. Always remember, you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help somebody else. This week's Top 10, we hear new music from Avatar, Fit for a King, Wolves at the Gate, As the Structure Fails, Gridiron, Stray from the Path, Dissect, Gavel Down, who are also my guests on next week's show, Jugular, and In Lucid Dreams. As always, you'll hear all of the clips of the top 10 on Spotify episodes, but unfortunately, YouTube snitches if you want to upload music, so if you are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, the clips will not be featured, but not to worry, you can still listen to the full songs on the Face Music Top 10s playlist over on Spotify. The code, as always, will be at the end of the top 10, and it's also in the link that's on all my socials. Top 10 of week 15, here we go. Kicking things off at number 10, we're taking a trip to Canada, eh? I'm so sorry. This band followed the Face Music Instagram page over the weekend. I checked them out, and they absolutely rip, guys. A huge Metallica influence. Their first single was released back in 2010. It was called Heavy Metal Law. It reminded me a lot of the band Airborne. And listening to the band's evolution over their songs through the last 15 or so years, they've gotten way heavier, riffier, way more aggressive. For a band that came to be within the last 15 years, they have a sound that comes straight from 1987. On Christmas Day 2024, they dropped their newest full-length Hymns for Our Deathbed. Pulled from a post on the band's Instagram page, every song on this album is a, quote, funeral hymn for something, and we wanted to channel every ounce of that grief and struggle into this record, unquote. according to frontman Jonathan Grimbley. The article goes on to say the subjects covered in the album are loss of self, loss of truth, loss of control, loss of a loved one, of a child, and even society itself. I will say, guys, this is a fantastic album, and major kudos to these guys. It's also my first unsigned featured band that's from out of this country. So, big shout out to the boys in Jugular. Keep it up. You have got something special. At number 10, this is Jugular with This Mortal Coil. At number 9, we have Long Island progressive metalcore band In Lucid Dreams. The band has been around since about 2015, consisting of members Joe Lupo, Mickey Rooney, and Christian Alexander. Earlier this year, the band did one of the funniest but most creative things that I've ever seen a band do. They performed a full set from inside of a minivan. You can check out the video on the Instagram. It is fucking hilarious. The band's sense of humor is amazing, and I legitimately love that. I love a band that doesn't take themselves too seriously. Mickey, actually, their vocalist, has hopped on stage with me many times when I was in Burn Your Bridges, which is how I found out about In Lucid Dreams. He would always grab a mic when we would perform our song The Aperture, or really any of the covers that we did. Most of the time, though, it was when we covered Counting Worms. It was always a fun time with Mickey, though. In Lucid Dreams is currently working on new music. They're always playing a show, so same with them as I tell you with every other band. Go follow them. They're always doing something. Stay in the know. There's always big things coming from In Lucid Dreams. At number 9, though, this is In Lucid Dreams with The Homeless. At number 8, we have American metalcore band Wolves at the Gate. Wolves started back in 2008 in Cedarville, Ohio, signed to Solid State Records. Wolves has 6 studio albums released, their first released in 2012, and their most recent just released May 30th of this year, entitled Wasteland. The band often writes about human struggle, seeing light in the darkness, finding hope, using imagery and storytelling in their music. I'm very new to this band. I'm still learning a lot about them, but it is very interesting to learn about them, and the more I listened, the more I enjoyed them. I'm a sucker for a band that can tell a good story or send a positive message in their music. It's refreshing from the usual anger expressed in metal sometimes. They're a great band, though. Go check out the brand new album Wasteland. This is Wolves at the Gate, Smoke, False Devils. At number 7, we have the band Gridiron. Gridiron hails from, well, everywhere, it would seem. They have members from Philly, from Delaware, from Detroit. The band started out as a COVID project from the guys just playing Call of Duty together, and they were all in previous bands that eventually, when they came together, this thing they started to take a little bit more seriously. It grew wings and it took off. This band combines metal, hardcore, and hip-hop for sounds. It's kind of more of a new metal sound, really. But according to the band's Spotify bio, they feel confident that their sound could have landed them at either Ozfest 97 or Rolling Loud Festival, and I don't disagree with that. 1997 was pretty peak for the new metal sound. They would fit in like a fucking glove, absolutely. I hope the blending of metal and hip hop never dies. It is such a smooth collaborative sound when it's done the right way, and Gridiron absolutely nails it. This band is also featured on the 2025 iteration of the Summer Slaughter Tour, spearheaded by Jamie Josta of Hatebreed, who selected all the bands on the tour, taking special interest in up-and-coming bands such as Gridiron. These guys are going to destroy on this festival, and I can't wait to see what's next for them. This tour is going to do a lot for them. This past Friday, May 30th, the band released their newest album, Poetry from Pain. This song is featured on that album. Go check it out and go see them on Summer Slaughter this summer with Hatebreed. This is Gridiron with Number 6. We have Long Island metal band Gavel Down. Gavel Down started all the way back in 2002 by Dan Ferguson and Kevin Beasley. Rounding out their current lineup is Anthony Citron on bass and Kip Giffen on drums. The band is just putting finishing touches on their new album Hearts Run Dark, which is due out this August. From the early days of Face the Music, one of the first dudes to hit me up was Dan Ferguson to tell me about Gavel Down. Dan also owns Riff Haven Audio Recording Studio, who is one of your MGR Fest vendors, by the way, if you were unaware. I won't say too much about them now, because next week I'll have these guys in studio on the show as your Week 16 special guest. I am very, very excited about sitting down with them. Expect a conversation about the band Gavel Down, but as well as tons of nostalgia through the years of the Long Island music scene. This song is brand new from Gavel Down, quite literally only dropped a couple days ago on June 3rd. This is the title track for the band's upcoming album. This is Gavel Down with Hearts Run Dark. Metalcore band Dissect. Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot of info about this band online, which sucks because they're so fucking good. What I was able to find is that they're recently, well, not recently, but they are signed to Grayscale Records. Lyrically, they write about internal struggles, external chaos, writing from a very real and raw place. They don't typically sugarcoat anything in their writing. The band just released their most recent EP, Hide from the Light, on May 30th. It's only 6 songs. It's 17 minutes. So there is not an excuse to be had for not checking out this band's fantastic new EP. The song I have for you today is off of that EP. At number 5, this is Dissect with Pretty Much Dead. Taking the number 4 spot this week, we have the band As the Structure Fails. This band formed in 2014 by brothers Carter and Kyle Laird and their friends Brian Gosling and Kyle Clark. And man, what a story. Soon after forming, Kyle Clark was diagnosed with God, good luck to me pronouncing this, arteriovenous malformation, which posed a life-threatening situation for him. This required multiple brain surgeries. Now, one is taxing enough and risky enough on the body. This dude had multiple and had to go through, obviously, a ton of rehabilitation. I am so happy to say that Kyle made a full recovery. That's a fucking miracle. The boys never left his side, and when the band came back, they came back stronger than ever. The band dropped the album In Vain in 2018, and that was their debut. By 2023, just 5 years later, the band performed at Heaven and Hell Open Air in Mexico with Slipknot and Guns N' Roses. Much deserved success for a band that never quit, that faced darkness and mortality head on and rose above all of it. That's the power of music, my friends. And science. Lots of science. But I'm proud to feature this band at your number 4 spot this week. This is As the Structure Fails, off of their latest 2-song EP, Soul Drowned, that came out May 23rd of this year. This is the title track, Soul Drowned. Top 3 songs of week 15. At number 3, we say hello and unfortunately what looks like goodbye to legendary Long Island, New York hardcore punk band Stray from the Path. The band formed in 2001 right here on Long Island. The band combines hardcore with rap metal, groove metal, and at times math rock. May 30th of 2025, the band surprise released their album Clockworked and also announced that they would be breaking up at the end of 25 once they filled their current touring requirements. 24-year run is a solid run, and I wish the band nothing but the best in hanging it up. Enjoy and congrats on a massive career, guys. At number 3 this week, this is Stray from the Path, Shot Caller. Number 2, the boys from Tyler, Texas are coming back and they're swinging. I featured this band a few weeks ago when their single No Tomorrow came out, but the new one just dropped and it is a rager, so they're back on. Of course, I'm talking about Fit for a King. The new album, Lonely God, comes out August 1st, 2025, but at number 2 this week, this is the title track. I won't say too much about them because I've already said everything that needs to be said, and you should know who they are by now. This is the title track, Fit for a King, Lonely God. And finally, your number 1 song of week 15. It should come as no surprise. I told you last week this song would make its way onto this week's top 10, and here it is, with no hesitation. This is the new one from Avatar. Avatar, a Swedish melodic death metal band that blends that sound with rock and roll, with groove. They are fantastic storytellers. The band's been around for a really long time now, going all the way back to their debut, Thoughts of No Tomorrow, which came out in 2005. The band started making noise over here around 2012 when the band's album The Black Waltz came out, but really, they busted it open in 2016 with their album Feathers and Flesh. The band really started getting regular radio play on Sirius XM from that one, and they were playing every festival they possibly could at that point, and the crowd was growing every single time. The band thematically dresses like a circus act, does everything in a very old school Carnival Barker sort of way, but frontman Johannes shows the fans that he can not only scream with the best of them, but he also has a tremendous vocal range and a great singing voice. And occasionally he breaks out the trombone or piano at live shows. No, that's not a joke, he does play trombone. The band, featuring guitarists Tim and Jonas, bassist Henrik, and drummer John, back Johannes to create an extremely fun show while playing some of the craziest and most eclectic music. I'm a huge fan of this band. They're one of my biggest inspirations in my own songwriting. I would love to have these guys on the show, as much of a long shot as that is. It would be an honor to sit down and have the opportunity to talk to them and understand their music and understand what they write about. They're incredible. If you're unfamiliar, please go check them out. I could not be happier that they're announcing a new album soon. And they announced a full North American tour for this fall as well. November 25th, they're going to be at the Paramount for us Long Islanders. I got my tickets already. Get yours, come hang out, and come experience Avatar. Your number one song of week 15, off of their upcoming but unnamed album, this is Avatar, Captain Goat. You can check out the full songs on the Face Music Top 10s playlist on Spotify by either searching or scanning the code that is on your screen now. Are you interested in being a guest on the show? Hit me up. I'm always looking for bands, musicians, friends, other podcast hosts, promoters, or people who just live for rock and metal music that want to come on and talk a bunch of shit. Let's set it up. Do not be shy. It's always a good time. I will say, though, as of today, I'm booked up about 6 to 8 weeks, so if you got something you want to come on and talk about, please don't wait. And if it's something that you need released sooner, please just message me, let me know what your schedule needs, and I'll see if I can move some stuff around for you. I'm here to help, so if I can move it around, I will. But please reach out. That leads me to my next point. My friends in bands, do you have a show coming up, or a single, or an album, or an EP dropping? Anything at all you want to promote? Please let me know. I want to do my part in making sure your music gets heard, your band gets seen. I want to make sure that I could do what I can to help get heads through the door at your shows too. But if you don't tell me, I'm going to have a really hard time finding out about it. Word of mouth only does so much. So, please reach out. Either email me at theftmpod@gmail.com or just shoot me a message on Instagram. Show announcements. Next Saturday, I've been waiting on details for this one, and they finally just put a flyer up, so I'm so happy about that, because I was getting kind of worried the show wasn't going to happen for a sec. Next Saturday, June 14th, at Whiskey Rocks in West Babylon, New York, formerly Sinclair's, we have Resist the Temptation, along with Breezy and the Blazers, The Disappointments, Counterfeit Phil, Sharp Violet, and Steve and the Not Steves. The show starts at 7 p.m. I will see you at that one. June 21st, Uber Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York. We have Pathmaker, The Astral Cadence, Golden Hymn Sing Hurrah featuring Tom Gallagher of Moongroove Records, Ringside Tonic, and Violet Chaos. Tickets are $15, doors are at 6 p.m. This is an 18 and over show. June 26th, Path We Choose, a Prelude to Misery EP release show. This will take place at Amityville Music Hall, Amityville, New York, featuring Hostile Intent, Summon the Plague, Dead Within Days, Senseless, and the boys themselves, Path We Choose. Tickets are only $12 if you buy from the bands, but it's $15 if you buy at the door, so you know the drill. Save some hard-earned cash and buy from the bands. Not only does this save you money, but if you're not aware, if you're unfamiliar with how the music scene operates, this helps the bands tremendously. Dead Within Days and Path We Choose are also both on MGR Fest 2025, so consider this to be your warm-up. July 26th, Moongroove Records hosts MGR Fest 2025. This event will take place at Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York. The whole thing kicks off at noon and goes late into the night. This event will feature local artists and touring acts. There's going to be plenty of vendors, activities, games, food trucks, and much more. $25 if you buy ahead of time, $30 at the door, so make sure you save yourself some cash and buy early. Your vendors for MGR Fest 2025 are Riff Haven Audio Recording Studio, Floating Forest Pedals, Safe Haven Music, Moncherie Sugary, Burnworks Unlimited, Gallagher Baked Goods, Katie Crafts, the Maui Chop House Food Truck, the El Amor del Caribe Caribbean Love Food Truck, and yours truly, the Face the Music podcast. I'll have a table and tent set up with some cool stuff for sale, including a one-time only limited supply MGR Fest hot sauce. I'll have shirts. I'll have some other cool stuff going on too. Going to be doing a raffle or two. I'm going to have a mobile setup for full coverage of the festival, so come on by and say what's up. Maybe cut a promo for the show, but make sure you get there bright and early. A music festival would be nothing without your bands performing. So, your bands for MGR Fest 2025 are Farsight, Ringside Tonic, Pathmaker, Cheem from New England, Path We Choose, Soul Searcher, Resist the Temptation, With Sales Ahead from New Jersey, Hope Speak, Dead Within Days, Pulses from Virginia, Off Guard, Oceanside, I Dreamt the Sea, and Craving Strange. Also featuring special acoustic sets by Bojack from the band Ronan, Chris Umland, and Ghost City Limits, which is my good friend and former guest of the show, Rob Moonfesta. Go give all of your vendors a like and the bands a listen. Make sure you buy your tickets early. $25 online or 30 day of show. Bring some extra cash for merch, food, raffles, and also save some time at the door. Since this event starts at noon, you want to make sure that you're there and inside early for when that first note kicks off. There is absolutely nothing worth mentioning in music news this week unless you want to talk about Faster Pussycat. I know, you just asked yourself, who the fuck is that? Another band having allegations against them, Iron Maiden's manager yelling at people for being on their phones at their shows, or Dave Mustaine still talking shit about Metallica 43 years later after being fired for being a drunken shithead. There's more Firefest bullshit. I don't care about talking about any of this shit, so we're going to skip it all. Maybe there'll be something next week. But I do want to mention, I talk a lot about Orbit Culture. I have turned a lot of people onto this band. So I feel responsible in saying that the news came out Wednesday. Their new album, Death Above Life, will be out October 3rd, 2025, and you can pre-order that album now. This week's special guest is a band that's been around for quite a while. They're all very experienced individual contributors to this group, and it was a lot of fun learning about these truly fantastic people. Face the Music family, please welcome to the show James, Yogi, not Jake, and Evelyn. You'll see them at MGR Fest this July. This is Pathmaker.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the Face the Music podcast. I'm sitting here with Pathmaker. Guys, why don't you go around and introduce yourselves?
I'm Yogi, the bass player.
I am James, vocalist, rhythm guitar player.
And I am Evelyn. I am the drummer in Pathmaker.
Very cool. Yogi, just take a little bit of a scooch forward. There we go.
More scooching is needed.
So how long have you guys been a band? You guys definitely been around a little bit. But when did you start?
Forever.
It's funny. We were like just kind of
coming up on a decade now.
Yeah.
It's
we're
kind
of putting together like a revised version of a bio recently, and we discovered like our first ever show was like 2016.
Wow.
Or something like that.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, I feel like for a long time it was always like we're coming up on a decade, and it has to have been when you add in like pre that show and all that stuff, in some of the lead up to that.
Oh yeah, we had like a year just practicing in your attic.
It was
Right?
longer than a year.
And
No,
then-
my attic for a year, and then your
Chuck's basement.
basement.
Yeah, our buddy, our ex guitar player.
Yeah.
Basement. Yeah, before we even had Yogi in the band, we're talking forever
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of longevity very often.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess we're stuck to each other.
Yeah.
Some way, shape, or form. Much to our
Unexplainable.
dismay. Yeah.
And so now you two have been the longest members, right?
Yeah.
So Yogi, when did you come into Lex?
I came in 2018. So
Okay.
like I think they were there for 2 years before I got in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So you're coming up on
I'm coming
8
up
years
on
now.
7 years this fall. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Very cool. So how long have you guys been playing your instruments? I mean, you have 10 years in a band. You have to be
That is a good question too.
got to be kind of deep with the instrument history, right?
You go ahead. You
I know I've been playing drums for it's got to be like 25 years now.
Damn.
Essentially. Yeah. Yeah, like I think I started maybe it's like 23, 24, but I started when I was like 8 playing snare, playing on like a practice pad, drums and all that stuff, and and it just kind of went from there.
Nice.
Who wants to go next?
What about you?
I started playing bass 21 years ago. I was 12. So yeah.
So what made you want to pick up bass?
My dad was a guitar player and he didn't want competition.
Okay,
No,
that's
actually, in all seriousness though, he's like, "Yeah, you can get a job if you're a bass player," like,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. But yeah, like,
I mean, a good session player, dude. They're worth a lot of money.
yeah,
You get us on a
No.
podcast for 5 minutes and the truth starts coming out. So
pouring out, like, I just can't help but overshare. But yeah, like I tried drums and I wasn't good at that, and then I tried guitar, and for some reason at the time it didn't work in my hand, but bass just like clicked with me instantly. And then ironically, like 2 years later, I started picking up guitar and almost like got better at it for a little while. So it was kind of just an intuitive instrument for me,
Very cool. What about you, James?
Well, if we're going through a little bit of the history, I actually started out as a drummer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, middle school, percussion and bands and all that stuff, and then eventually worked my way over to the kit because my dad always had one in the house because he loved drums and always wanted one of his kids to play drums. He was like, please just let one of my kids want to play drums, and that was me. Did that ever since, yeah, I mean, being like 12, 13, and then graduated to guitar and vocals when I was maybe 17-ish, 18. Didn't know a lick of anything, and then eventually, worked my way up.
Very cool.
I think the first iteration of the band, I started on bass and doing vocal,
Yeah.
and then eventually moved over to guitar and vocal.
And we actually we met both in like symphonic band in college
really?
in the percussion kind of just proving
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he
that's right.
I met him as a drummer.
Right.
Yeah, we both played in the same percussion section.
That's
Right,
awesome.
Yeah.
And like, what were some of your influences? I mean, like drums first. I know you have to have a little bit of a array.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I mean, back in the day when I was really getting into and getting better at playing a drum set in like high school. I started out with all the golden oldies that my dad would show me, like Led Zeppelin, or really his big thing was Kiss. So that's gonna infer a lot about me. But no, but when I started like really discovering music on my own, it was a lot of like progressive metal stuff. Like I fell in love with Dream Theater, and then digging even deeper into like harder and heavier stuff like Meshuggah, Tesseract, Periphery, all that stuff came about like right around that time. I was like looking for something, and there it was. I'm like, oh, give me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was where at least the drum influence started. And then as I was moving along, like, I fell in love with Foo Fighters, and then that whole Dave Grohl being their Nirvana's drummer thing, like all of that spoke to me so much. So then my rock awakening happened,
I was gonna say there is something very percussive about your playing.
Yeah.
As a guitarist, that I can almost sense like you had a background somewhere. So it's cool to
Okay.
actually hear it's there. Because listening to your
Okay,
stuff,
yeah.
like there is something going on there. Like he has a very good sense with rhythm.
Nice.
So
Oh yeah,
That's
that's funny that you say that. Yeah, there's like a Dave Grohl model
yeah.
of how he there's some video out there where he discusses how he sees the guitar as the drums. Like
Yeah,
the
it's one of
low,
that one.
the low bass string being like the kick drum or something like that.
And the upper
there's-
strings being like cymbals, and
Right.
hi-hats and-
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. And there's a bit of that like I don't understand, but there's also a bit of it I definitely do, where it's
Yeah.
like I see kind of where that rhythmic aspect comes into play, and I definitely have like that's where my mind goes to first is the rhythm.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Evelyn, what about you?
On drums, I would say my biggest influence, honestly, I think in a lot of ways we're similar, at least in terms of like initial inspiration. I was a huge Dream Theater head, like very early on.
Same. My
yeah,
chord eyes got to me.
yeah, and I would say musically that's what inspired my drumming the most, but I think if you actually watch me play, I kind of sit more in like a hard rock, like even like Chad Smith was an inspiration at one
Okay.
point. So like I'm kind of a little bit all over the place, but I feel like if you like sat down and watched me play, I'm probably closest to more a Taylor Hawkins or something like that instead of like a Mike Portnoy.
So like a
in terms of how
pocket
I play.
player. Like you
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Which is something else. Like I've never seen Pathmaker as a whole band, so I'm looking forward to that at NPR. If not sooner. I don't know. You guys definitely have some shows coming up, but
yeah, something else actually that they hooked us up with at Uber Geek too. That's coming up this month.
oh right, the June 26th show.
So 21st,
Yeah.
July 26th is the
Right.
fest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the I think the Path We Choose release show is June 26th.
Oh,
I'll be in Virginia for both of those, unfortunately, so I won't be able to.
No worries.
But
Yeah, we'll see you on July 26th.
Yeah,
100%.
that sounds good.
Sweet.
I'm not missing that. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys as a whole band, but I could definitely tell, like, again, just from listening, everyone just, it locks in. Like, percussion makes sense with the bass makes sense with the guitar makes sense with the drums, it just works.
Cool.
And you do have that really cool, like, punchy hard rock sound. I love that. I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. So.
Yeah, glad to hear it.
So aside from influences, aside from how long you guys have been playing, what's been going on with the band the past few years? I know you'd said that. Well, actually, I don't want to be rude. What is your lead guitarist name?
Oh, Jake.
Jake,
Yeah.
and Jake is currently in Brooklyn, so he was unable to make it tonight. Shout out Jake, though. I will hope to meet you soon.
R.I.P.
Oh god, that got dark.
Hate you, Jake. Nah, just kidding. I love you, Jake. He knows I love you.
Hashtag cancel Jake.
So yeah, what's been going on with the band?
Well, we've been in like a period of just kind of riding the wave of after we released the last album for a little bit. You know, we had immediately after releasing that, we worked on an album release show. That happened like the following month, and then of course we have our annual Halloween show, Monster Mosh, that we do every year, Devlin Days and Resist Temptation. So we spent a lot of time just riding the wave, and then this year we discussed more about actually getting into the riding mode.
Okay,
and we're
cool.
still kind of figuring out how that works because we haven't really done that. So our discography is kind of a weird thing because we only got Yogi in 2018. Our first album was already released. We only got Jake in 2021. Or did we get him in 2020?
2020.
It was 2020, right?
Yeah, it was during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What that on that one? And we already kind of had most of the Something More album ready by the time he joined. So like we've never actually, as a full group, done with this lineup as long as this lineup has been together, which is at least 5 years with all four of us. We've never actually sat down to write as a crew, so we're still kind of navigating that. But we've had a couple jams that were pretty sweet, you know.
Cool.
And we're just like, all right, we gotta really just buckle down and hit some of this a bit more, you know.
And now, are you guys looking to do like another full length? Are you looking to do an EP? Just wherever it takes you.
It's a good question. I think we've talked about exploring smaller ideas, probably like an EP first. But I think at the end of the day, when ideas start finally getting put down to paper, like I think we'll start looking at it holistically and like whatever that ends up looking like. If that's a full album, it's not, or it's an EP.
Right.
We'll probably piece it together. Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. You know?
Yeah.
One thing comes out on its own, we'll be like, all right, we'll just release that first.
I definitely think we've leaned into the idea of the exploration of like an EP, a smaller thing,
a couple tracks,
experiment or whatever. It seems like a good idea, but
A lot of bands are doing that nowadays.
Yeah.
Just a small little package and then work to something if depending on how it, you know, I mean, I don't want to say sells because music doesn't really sell as much anymore, but depending on how it does, stream, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Do you have any like concepts or ideas that you want to write about?
Oh, too many.
Yeah.
Like we have a little trove of random ideas. Whether it be my ideas, his ideas, just in general, like some other ideas here and there that are sitting around, kind of,
Mm.
in a box somewhere.
Yeah, we have ideas that'll come up that are like, from like just a month or two ago, and then ideas that have been around
Yeah.
since like a couple of years, like just stuff that you never really got to.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, they're always, those things are always coming. It's always just putting pen to paper and writing
Mm.
it out. That's always the hardest part, getting started.
What about like lyrically? Like, do you have anything that you want to maybe create a story about, or is it just something writing from the heart? I know you guys tend to like typically write about real life stuff.
Yeah, typically it's been like writing from the heart. Generally speaking, I write about like lived experiences or like, a perspective on a lived experience. But I mean, there was one thing we were tossing around with a time travel concept that would be really cool, but damn, that's going to be hard to do. Would love that idea. There's some kind of like sci-fi thing like that we've always had in the back of our heads. It's just like, oh man, that's gonna be really hard. Then we have like random offshoot stuff like we had an EP in 2022, Race.
Mm-hmm.
That song was all about like it's meant to be a kind of a piss take on racing cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually used to work for a Honda dealer. I was never actually a car guy, but I just paid my bills.
Yeah.
So I'd be surrounded by all these people who love cars. I'm like, wow, I really do not like this shit. So like it just came naturally to me to write kind of like a song that was a little cheesy song about race cars. And like we've also when it comes to writing about ideas that are a little bit different or anything, we've also had plenty of ideas about music videos and stuff to do.
Yeah.
Just those are so hard to get together because
Yeah.
our ideas are too grandiose.
Yeah, a thing is like I won't tend to write like lyrics or song ideas. I'll just write music videos and like
Right.
so far the closest we've got is actually starting to write a song to the music video, which I think
Right.
is kind of like
Yeah.
fun,
That is fun.
Well, you start with the concept for the video first, and then try to soundtrack it, or
Sort of. That's kind of what
Kind of what happened is
organically,
like
randomly happened.
like I pitched like I think a music video idea to James one day, and he started writing and recording like a song
So
semi.
I distinctly remember it's you pitched that idea and we all were just like kind of pretty jazzed about it. And then I think I had my guitar in my hand at the time and started playing the riff that ends up being the main riff of that song. I'm just like, I don't know if we're ever going to get to this music video, but I'm gonna keep writing this song anyway and see what happens. And now, yeah, like that song's probably gonna be released by Halloween.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's already all the instruments are recorded, getting half the vocals done,
Nice.
So yeah, it should be coming out soonish.
Where do you guys typically record? Do you do like a studio or home?
We have a guy who has like a home studio.
Okay.
Shout out
to Dave.
Dave Caggiano. He's the man. He's like our producer buddy. Yeah, he's incredible. He's done a couple of like the other local acts on the island that are in our style, hard rock. Revel 9, Craving Strange,
Oh, awesome.
like those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I just featured Revel 9 on my top 10 this week.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Revel's great. Love DJ. Love the guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time, but they were always so much fun to play with.
Oh yeah, and their material just keeps getting better and better too. Like I
Yeah.
love the new stuff they're coming out with, and they only I think within the past year or two started working with Dave too,
Oh yeah.
and like that stuff has just been. Dave as a producer is something else. Like
Mhm.
he's like probably the best you could get for the price, as close as you can get to professional sounding stuff too, because he's been doing this for I think 25-ish years himself. Or something
Oh, wow.
like that. And he's been in the game a long time. And he's had so many tips and tricks along the way that he's learned that he's just applying even as he goes along now, like more stuff that he's doing that he's just like a master of his craft kind of thing. And love working with the guy. He's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of the confidence you want if you're paying someone money to do
Yeah.
something for you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And besides being like super technically proficient, he's like a good hang, when you
Yeah.
have to hang out in someone's basement for 8 hours in a row.
Right,
You don't
yeah.
want them to be like a douche, and he's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to like get along with him.
I had Alec Rogers from the Unpermitted did a recording for me a long time ago, which we did like one song. It was supposed to be like a bullshit demo. Came out good. But yeah, I was worried about the hang because I didn't know him. So
Yeah.
I get there, it's just like in an industrial park in Ronkonkoma, and I get there, I'm like, oh, this is cool as shit.
Yeah.
He's got a big TV. They got Trailer Park Boys on. They got like
Nice.
it was awesome. So shout out to Alec. He's A, an awesome drummer, and B, an awesome person. But yeah, that's the exact experience you want to go for. You want to be comfortable when you're recording because the red light is scary enough as it is.
Absolutely.
It's paralyzing to begin with. So the last thing you want is to be paralyzed with a bad place to be in. But
Yeah,
no,
I
that's
like it.
cool. What town does he work out of?
Glen Cove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's not really close.
Not terribly
Well,
close.
to here.
A bit of a drive,
Just a
but
little bit of a drive.
yeah.
Worth it.
You guys are like a Suffolk band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're mostly, except for, our guitar player Jake, R.I.P.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, actually, when he was on the island still, he was in Comac, so we were all kind of
okay.
like,
Yeah.
we have a practice space in Huntington that we go to, but like
Nice.
we're all more based out, like even middle Suffolk for the most part,
Yeah.
So yeah, most places for us are a hike that anything's going on.
Yeah.
Whatever. We get
As long
by.
as it's worth it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, so now you start recording this new EP. You only have one song down. You have ideas for it. Typically, what are your, if you want to go into it at all, what are your influences for your lyrics? Like I know you said it's usually personal, but is it anything particular? Is it life stuff, or is it?
Yeah. So I know for the first record, it was all kind of like, so kind of think of at least the full albums, full length albums. I kind of thought of them as like loose conceptual in the way that they have a general theme that kind of works throughout all of them, but even though no song particularly is connected to each other in any greater meaning way, like a concept or true concept.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like kind of conceptual.
Yeah, like very, very loosely conceptual. Like the first one was a very, it was all kind of ending positive vibes, like overcoming your inner demons, or like, if you were going through a breakup, things would be okay, or like the world is crumbling down around us, remember to love each other, stuff like that. It was very cheesy, hunky-dory kind of stuff. Whereas the following record, it was more drawn on a little bit more darker themes. There's definitely still some of that, some aspects of like uplifting stuff, but then there's also a song in there that is from like somebody who is a bully's perspective and how they end up really hating themselves at the end of the day, or another song that's like, potentially causing self-harm, that kind of stuff, like really just kind of darker tone, darker theme.
I noticed the newer record is a little bit heavier than the other one. And I was curious where your lyrics came from, like what the perspective is. I love talking to lyricists about what they write about, because a good lyricist can tell you a story, but it's from where it comes from that makes it connectable.
Yeah.
I
I would say that so in our earliest iteration of the band, we actually had like a couple songs from each record kind of already in the works, but knew that they weren't going to mesh together.
Right.
So later down the line, as more songs came in, it was like, okay, we're clearly building one album this way and another album this way. And all the things came into play, whether they were darker in tone, a little bit heavier, that or whatever, and then their content, lyrical content, all that kind of stuff. So the first album was more written with more of the positive vibey stuff in it, while the second one was like, okay, more of the darker theme stuff kind of goes that way. So that's why that split kind of happened that way. It's like all this stuff comes out, but it doesn't all fit.
It's cool when bands write like that. A lot of bands do it too, like a Heaven and Hell kind of concept. Yeah, that's it's cool to get both takes of that, especially in like such close proximity. So I have it in front of me now. The Weight of the World came out in 2021, and Something More came out just last year.
I think a version.
Oh,
the retro baby version.
So yeah,
Does
the
it
say retro on there?
it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we literally took we remixed the entire album in a MIDI arcade track kind of thing.
Yeah, electronic.
Just kind of fun
thing. Just because like
we had the ability to
the ability. It was also like just post COVID, so it's like, what do we got? Anything to do otherwise?
Oh, okay, this is the original.
There you go.
Should be 18, right? It's just like 21. I wonder what that guy. Oh yeah, I know what that is.
This video game sound.
That's our bad.
That's awesome.
It is cool.
That is very.
It is
Kinda
cool,
neat.
but it's not our first film. I mean, but it is.
But it also,
Yeah, we're just waiting on Kogami to get back to us about the video game. They said it's been in development for 4 years, but
Will we get that before GTA 6?
Yeah, we'll get that before GTA 6 is right.
So, what shows you guys have coming up? You got I mean, a lot that I've seen. At least I think I've seen with you guys on it.
So we definitely have.
June 21st.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
June,
I love an Excel sheet.
Hey, Yogi's, got to keep it down because we're all so busy, you know.
I'll never remember anything if it's not an Excel spreadsheet.
And that too.
Uh,
But so we have June 21st,
Mhm.
Saturday. It is at Uber Geek. I think that was also set up by Moon Groove. The following one is July 26th, which is the MGR Fest. And then after that, the only slated thing we have right now is our Monster Mosh on November 1st, which is a Saturday too. But
so much stuff. Okay.
we every so often we'll get offers here and there, stuff that we can't take because of scheduling.
Yeah.
Random things will pop in and out. Typically something happens in September.
Yeah, I will pick
at
up
least
another
around
show here,
September
show
and
here, too.
August. It's just gonna
Yeah.
happen, you know.
Very cool.
But right now, yeah, we've been kind of buckling down on even getting our scheduled rehearsal day per week.
Yeah.
What we're going to do with that, so it's been a little bit up in the air as it stands.
Yeah, that's understandable. Cool. I'm definitely gonna keep my eyes out for that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All of the songs on Something More, which one was your favorite to write about?
That is a very good question. So I think at the end of the day, I probably have like two or three that I'd say right or like neck and neck with each other because each one of those songs just has some way that. So I'm a weird guy when it comes to lyrics. Like for the most part, when I'm listening to someone else's material, I don't listen to the words first. I'm actually listening to what the song is and then like melody. So then sometimes, not even all the times, I attach lyrics to that melody later, depending on what they are. If they sit with me the same way, all that kind of stuff, you know. But I really am like wondering if a song is going to hook me in its emotional beats,
Yeah.
and then if the lyrics kind of play a part after that, where it's just like this is displaying that feeling that you're getting from the song in itself. So I feel like the three songs that I probably feel the most for in that regard are, at least from Something More, would be Second Wind, Something More itself, and then Home Alone, the last track on the album. All of those have like this. There's some like so Second Wind, for example, to begin with, that song is about getting your second wind in the way of relationships fail, like, you know, and you get down on yourself and you're like, and sometimes you get stuck in the past and you're not quite able to get over the hump, but working your way towards like understanding that there are more opportunities out there for you than you may have even realized, that time will heal all wounds essentially. And that song I really love for not only the lyrical aspect of how that all came together, but I feel like just the emotion I feel when that song is playing, I feel like very like, okay, yeah, this is uplifting, this feels good. And specifically that bridge is like one of my favorites on the record. Like it's just a powerful bridge, you know, and it makes you think like, yeah, all right, I'm feeling this. I've actually our producer Dave has told us a couple times, like when listening to that bridge, like that and what's happening with the words there, like I feel what you're talking about there, and it gives him like that hope, that understanding that I'm trying to convey in that song, which I'm like, great, I love that that's coming through how I hoped it would. You know. That song is definitely realizing that there are more opportunities available to you than you might have realized. Something More and Home Alone are more darker songs. For all my family out there that's going to see this, I apologize for this next part. But Something More, the song was inspired by the grief you get from dealing with like particularly the like your workplace and the people that you have to deal with on a daily basis, and you have to see, like, you know, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, every day, every one of those days for every week and every year, as long as you stay employed in one spot.
Yeah.
And you start to feel the weight of that if they're not like your people. So like you understand that you have different personalities you're working with that are not people that you would hang out with normally outside of work.
Yeah.
And that in itself causes, like, you know, it could cause your head to spin. I know for me it did. Could cause your head to spin when you realize, like, I don't know if I can tolerate some of the people around me because they're just wildly, radically different from me. So that song has half to do with that and half to do with the familial aspect of life, where your family will come down and be a little bit overbearing on you too in different ways, and it's like, but I have to deal with them because they're family.
Yeah.
And not being able to escape the weight of that. So that song, that's another one of those concept for a music video that will probably never get off the ground. But that one had like a specific thing where like the first verse takes place in a workplace and the second verse takes place in like a Thanksgiving dinner, and you just see those people around surrounding your main character who are like whoever's perspective of the video is coming from. Like he's just getting rubbed the wrong way by all these people, and by the time the chorus hits, he's flipping tables. He's like throwing papers in the office all over the place, breaking stuff. He flips the table at the Thanksgiving dinner, starts throwing chicken against the wall, whatever. Like just the idea of having to deal with that, and eventually it would all culminate in the guy going to like a rage room and just getting it all out somewhere.
Yeah.
Because some of these things you can't really help unless you find a way to get out of it. You can always quit your workplace. You can't really quit your family.
Yeah.
But you can always find another job or like try to work things out with people that you have. Like it's complicated. And that song was just about getting that aggression out.
It's funny you mentioned that because there have been more than a few situations where I'm at work and the people I'm with are okay, but it stops there.
Yeah.
You secretly find out that you can't fucking stand these people and you're spending 40 or more hours a week with them, and it's just like, I really don't want to be around them anymore.
It's a lot.
And you can't do anything about it. It's
Nope.
the worst part. You cannot do a damn thing about it.
Nope.
You can go to your manager's not going to do shit because they still work there too. It's kind of just to suck it up and deal with it. And
Right.
it does make you want to throw shit against the wall sometimes.
Yeah.
And family, dude, you can't pick your family.
Right.
We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You can't pick your family. You're stuck with them.
Can't
kill them.
you can't kill him.
Can't kill me either. Yeah.
To be fair, you also can't kill your coworkers.
Well,
I mean, you can technically, but you shouldn't.
They do say you can't do that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
against
except
the
for
law
Flying
or
Lotus. He
some
says you
shit.
can do that, but
No, yeah, the family thing is like more like dealing with family drama that you can't escape.
Yeah.
I
relate to that.
Just being like, guys, shut up. Enough.
Everyone's bitching about something, and the last thing you want to hear is everyone else's problems. It's like,
yeah.
dude, shut the fuck up.
Especially when it's meaningless, and like we've all experienced some stuff like that. I'm sure you have too with your family, where it's just like
100%.
this doesn't. There is no weight to this. Why are we talking about this?
Yep.
yeah, like the work life kind of like breeds some extra contempt. They say familiarity breeds contempt, and it's like people you like.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that you like hanging out with. Eventually, you'd be like, no, I've heard that story too many times. And now I fucking hate you. Like, imagine people you don't even like as the premise of your relationship.
Dude, that's an
every day of
easy
my job.
fear for me.
You know how many times I've heard him say that? I want to kill this guy.
Right, like
that is such a thing, and it sits here that I'm like, I'm talking too much. These people probably fucking hate my guts. I don't want to be that guy ever, but it's almost inevitable. In somebody else's story, we're all gonna be those people.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
it's
that
true.
please everybody.
So you
Sure.
can't.
Usually, once people start rolling their eyes at me, I'm like, all right, maybe I gotta get a new story.
I roll the rough.
Maybe I should figure this
Live some
out.
new life experiences real quick. Like,
We'll be right back.
I've been rolling in my eyes at you for like 8 years.
yeah, well, again,
He keeps
yeah,
coming
you have to
back.
start out liking the person to eventually feel content. You're already at the
I didn't get that memo. I didn't get that memo.
Straight to contempt.
just great.
And now, so that's something more, right?
Yeah.
And you said Home Alone was probably the darkest one, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest. I think the biggest song we've ever written, and also the darkest song lyrically, for sure, that I've ever written. That song essentially is not me, but a perspective on someone dealing with like. I don't want to be cheesy here and say the weight of the world, but like them. I couldn't help it.
Oh my God.
Like here with that phrase, like the South Park guys, "We're the world." But dude, it's true though.
Yeah, like just and really like letting it get to them to the point of actually like contemplating like ending life for themselves, like committing suicide. Like and like though I've never had that myself, I've had friends, I've had family that have gone through that, and like there's I guess an empathic part of me that sees that and feels that, and I'm like, that's horrible. I hate that there's this mentality that you have that you'd feel like you see that as a viable option, And I would hope, and in every one of these situations, I reach out to the people and I hope that like if there's anything you need, you can come to me. At the very least, know that you have someone here for you,
Yeah.
but you can't help but sometimes everybody has their down days or their darker days, and I guess at some point I just realized with all of that circling somewhere around in my brain and knowing that that's something I care about with people, it's like I wonder if writing a perspective about this would be um, something that would be interesting for me. And slowly but surely that song came along. I mean, I think as it stood writing that song, that was pretty difficult
Yeah,
to begin with. I
for
think we
sure.
had like our pre-chorus chorus, but the verse we were
Our verse is always the ones that we have to we double back on.
going back and
Um,
back. Like that one took like months later to actually get the whole thing down. And then same thing I think for the words, like it was hard figuring out exactly what the pieces all were. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's kind of like, and also, you know, especially in the music scene, I'm sure you've seen this plenty too. I know we all have, like, you're going to deal with people that do hardcore drugs and stuff too. So there's an element of that in the song where it's like somebody doing drugs and thinking like, what if I just kind of did more and let myself go and fall into it? And there's a couple, like, there's some pretty spot on words in there that are like, you know, on the nose where you kind of can see that, especially like after me explaining that. But like that song, yeah, it really is all that that kind of mentality of like, what if I just didn't go on?
Yeah. What I like about that song so much is throughout it there is a delicate balance of like there is a through line of like hope even in a very dark song, and I don't even think the song really ends in a particularly hopeful way, but in a way it has like that song and kind of the album as a whole is always dealing with like it's kind of like a double-edged sword or two sides of the same coin, two different sides of the same coin, where it's you have this dark side and this light side, and like Home Alone, even in like some of the like just throughout the whole entire song, but like if I think about the verses, um it's like has it's very brooding. I think that's like the word I'd say about it. But at the same time we go into pre-choruses that like have this super uplifting like guitar line, like rhythmic line, that yeah, it's the kind of the whole album is a little bit of like a balancing act of those two sides. And that song for sure I think is like the best probably example of that.
Yeah.
Where maybe the other songs are like this is the dark one, this is the lighter one, this is
Right.
the Home Alone is like the you put it all together and that's where you get Home Alone.
Right.
Yeah.
To be completely clear here, do not condone thinking of even ending yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that song is a little bit open ended in that regard, but like it is in no way or shape or form saying that this person even actually does it, but they're like on the precipice of like getting to that point, you know? So like it's very important to say it doesn't actually end badly, that song, necessarily.
Yeah, no, I don't know many people that condone suicide or anything of the sort. It is a very interesting topic to write about, though, because it is such a dark and, dare I say, fascinating topic. Because it's like, what would drive someone to the point where they feel like there are no other options?
Right.
You know, like, we've all had dark days, I'm sure, but we're all still here to talk about it. So we never let it get the best of us. But the people who really truly feel there's no way out, that's a crisis. And I truly hope that anyone listening to this, if you ever get to that point, there is a way out of it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Talk to anybody. Just talk to somebody.
Yeah, please.
And now you had mentioned another song earlier.
Voices, I think, right?
Was that Voices in the Mirror?
Voices in the Mirror.
About writing from a bully's perspective.
Yeah, that's actually probably the oldest song, like the one that was maybe written first from that record.
Yeah. There's that one in Forgive and Forget, right?
Yeah.
Those like the two that were hanging out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Voices in the Mirror was written about from a perspective actually of a bully, sort of, or like a bully kind of contemplating their actions.
Okay.
You know, because I don't know about anybody else here at the table. I wasn't necessarily a bully in high school. There might have been one or two kids I messed around with in the lunchroom for a period or two here or there. But at the end of the day, I always liked those kids. But I've also been on the participating end earlier in high school where I was on the receiving end of bullying. So like I understand what that feels like. This was kind of like imagining if a bully actually gained the self-awareness of what they were doing, and it's called Voices in the Mirror because they actually look at themselves in the mirror, but the picture that they see is talking to them, saying like how you're an evil piece of shit, basically. You know, like that's at least the theme of that song, is that, you know, you're a follower. You what you're doing isn't doing anybody any favors, especially not yourself. And it really just shows that, like, the bridge of that song is basically it's shouting at you like, this is very ugly of you, like this ugly, and you like, I hate myself for doing this. It's really a realization of like, why am I doing this, you know? And hopefully, you know, nobody would want to bully, but it does happen out there, and you realize like it's coming from people that have, I don't know, their own kind of deficiency in some relationship, maybe where they're not getting what they need. And it's like, it's a sad affair, because I think a lot of people do grow out of it and they really have a lot of regret for all that stuff too. But by that point, you're well out of high school. It's too late to even, but then you're stuck and living with that. So that's where like all of that was kind of coming into play from, bully's perspective of, I kind of hate myself for doing this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely on the receiving end in life, and like, it sucks, dude. But like, the main thing is just always try to be the better person. Always try to be the bigger person, and just get out. Do anything you can to just survive it and get out. And you never have to see these fucking people again.
Right. Oh yeah.
And like, there was one moment where I was in a deli getting breakfast for me and my wife one day, and one of my old bullies from middle school was standing there next to me.
Really?
Dude just starts talking to me like he has no idea who I am, but he has the same ugly fucking face that he's always had. And I was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" Like, I wanted to just kick him in the ass, be like, "Don't you dare talk to me!"
Right.
But he's like, "Oh, you believe this shit?" He's looking through the newspaper. I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!"
But it just goes to show. Did this guy just talk to you out of the blue? Like,
yeah, dude. Like we were two strangers in a coffee shop. He had no clue who I was.
yeah,
But you don't forget the people that torment you.
yes,
You know.
absolutely, you're right. It's funny. Like, you never know what that guy's life trajectory was after that. I'd say there's even an argument to say that maybe things didn't go so well for him after all because of karma or something. Like, you never know. To the point where now you come full circle to a degree, and like you realize, like, damn man, this guy's still kicking, you know, and that sucks, kind of. But you know, hopefully that guy grew just the same way that hopefully my bully grew.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, got his ass kicked at least.
Yeah, dude. I think everyone is deserving of at least one good ass kicking.
Yeah.
After shit like
Oh
that.
yeah.
But no, despite anything, being the better person in that situation is just wishing them well.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, listen.
It was 20, 30 years ago for some people, dude. Like, I mean, middle school, fuck. I graduated in 01 from middle school. I haven't talked to that dude in 25 years. Fuck up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And none of us are really formed in middle school, high school even. Like, we don't know who we are or what we're doing really.
Exactly.
You know? It wouldn't come down too hard on even my bully back in the day. Just be like, if anything, there's a part of me that appreciates it because it made me stronger.
Absolutely.
You know, and like, just like, I know I can handle more and like know how to push back and know how to stand my ground. You know, and that I can appreciate. Still never say I liked it, but I appreciate growing as a person for anything that happens in life. You know.
And that's a cool song to have that perspective, because it is all about a very, very unique perspective.
Yeah.
That one,
not quite sure where that came from really, but
I'm pretty sure Voices in the Mirror was on my top 10 weeks ago.
I think it was. Yeah. I saw a post about that. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, dude, that was a song that resonated with me hard on the album.
Nice.
And like knowing what the actual lyrical content is about, that's cool, man.
Yeah, cool.
So now, are you the primary lyricist for the band, or do you all kind of contribute? Or
No. That is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We've tried.
Yeah,
We've tried to do a little co-writing.
I a word or here, maybe there, maybe one or two.
A word here or there, a concept here or there, a whole phrase here or there.
Like a little. I dabble.
I'll put it this way. I am very defensive at the end of the day of the lyrics. So, because, you know, I think as anyone would be about a piece that they're writing.
For the most part, we've juggled that line pretty well.
Like, going forward.
Like I know where my where we can make changes that need to happen.
That being said, we have you know, all of our members I think are capable of doing that. Like everyone in our group has written songs on their own in some way, shape, or form too. And I know that they have the capability of doing that. So it's not to say, I don't know, I'm the primary singer, but I would totally be open to having somebody else write lyrics and I'll just sing them. You know,
Cool.
no problem with that. We do cover songs all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so
Mhm.
it's the same kind of thing for me, at least.
What's your favorite cover that you do?
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a good
that's a
question.
good one too.
I
Right now or all time?
Yeah, well, ones that we've actually played live, or ones that we got in the.
Let's go live first.
Okay, I don't want to burst the bubble on that one.
Yeah,
you
maybe
know?
not.
But
Has it been debuted yet?
it has
No,
not.
not, yeah.
But you know, when we get there, we'll get there, and I'm sure there's at least some old heads out there that are gonna love it. But as far as ones that we played live, I mean, our go-to is Cult.
yeah, I was gonna say that's my answer. And like honestly, I think we've played Cult of Personality in one. Well, not, I was about to say in one form or another, but in the one form. Since
our
like basically
inception.
since the inception of
Yeah.
the band,
Oh,
like
shit, really?
we always have that in our back pocket. Where we'll just be like, we still play shows to this day where it's like, we want to play Cult? Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we
Um,
are able to pull it out. Thankfully, we have a good guitar player who can actually play the
Yeah,
solos.
yeah.
Like, like, cool, we're set. We can do that whenever we really
That's
want.
the popular one, but
That's definitely
like, I'm
our-
sure.
Do you have like a favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, mine is break stuff.
Hell
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's either.
That's the thing.
It's either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fair.
But
That's fair.
I get that too. Like
Yeah.
like Colt, I would not say is like the most fun out of our group. I love that song.
I'm not even gonna lie, Colt's my least favorite. But we do. It's like the one I'm always. Okay, never mind.
Yo, do you know how to whistle?
Do I know how to whistle? Right. Like my top three would be break stuff, Hey Man, Nice Shot,
Yeah, I love
and
got
Sweet
the-
Emotion. Those three were like the most fun to play live.
Wait,
Because
now
you
we
can
have-
see the audience be like, yeah,
So
you know.
we have Living Color, Limp Bizkit, Filter, and Aerosmith.
Those are the that we were going around the table with. Yeah.
We
Damn.
gotta pick them, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no through line almost.
Right. That's like kind of the magic to how we pick our covers. I think we've always gone like when we're picking them, we try to pick something that is going to, at a bare minimum, catch somebody's ear if they heard it in
Yeah,
a show.
turn
Like
heads.
we really don't like playing songs that you're kind of guaranteed if you go to 10 shows in a year,
Yeah.
you're probably going to see these songs covered at some point. We really stick away from them.
You're gonna hear Pantera walk a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've actively talked about how like there are certain songs like I think we would all love to do like Man in the Box or them
Yeah.
Alice in Chains, but like everybody
We just don't
plays
touch them.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna do stuff that people do, you
Yeah.
know. Well, another one that we do, we've done and we're bringing back in the rotation now is Roundabout by Yes.
Oh, cool.
You know,
Mhm.
just
Full song.
yeah, yes,
Well,
we did do the full song at one point, but
we
then
did,
we're
yeah.
like chopping a bit of the middle.
Well, gotta say, when we played that live, I think it was even only just an open mic. It was still like really fun. Like you could
Yeah.
just
Such a fun
tell
song.
the whole place was different. Like while we were
no
doing
one
it,
covered
you know,
that
like,
song, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
nobody, yeah, really
And,
puts
like,
that out.
when
like-
it comes to Yes, like you really got to know your instruments in order to pull that song off. So
Mhm.
that's
I know 'em enough.
Really,
that's-
that's at the
that's
time.
that sounds basically a bass solo. So
Yeah,
Right,
that's,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah, no, I gotta give all of our members credit. Like we all generally, they at least all know what they're doing.
Well,
I kind of do whatever I can on the vocal, but like they all know what they're doing for sure.
We all get
Very-
by,
very
just
happy.
barely.
Yeah, we
No,
do.
no, yeah, we're all.
I think my favorite might be Escape from the City, maybe.
I get
Oh,
that. I
cool.
totally get
So
that.
you know what I'm talking
of
about?
course.
Yeah, love the Sonic Adventure soundtrack.
That's my play. Like definitely.
Yeah,
It's all
just
so
I mean
good.
it's fun, poppy.
So two things about that song.
Yeah,
Do you know Devoted Fusion?
yeah.
Okay, so their first show was at I think it was called Green and Scream by this fucking ridiculous promotion. They're not on the scene anymore. I think it was called Grow the Scene,
Okay.
GTS. They would do these shows at Revolution that would start at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and go all day,
Ooh,
all night.
okay.
And your spot was dictated by how many tickets you sold.
Ugh.
Right.
Devoted Fusion, that was their first show, and they played that song. And
Yeah?
dude, the whole bar flipped. Like it was a dead club, and they played that song, and everyone was eating out of the palm of their hands.
How do you
Nice.
not? How do you
That's,
not?
that's just a great.
How do you not get excited when somebody plays that song?
And
pulls
then
on so much nostalgia.
the second thing, do you know about the Sonic Symphony?
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, me and our guitar player went to go see that.
last year.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
I was there
in
for
the
that.
summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Really?
Washington Theater.
Yeah. Wait, where was it?
Washington Theater, I
Was it
think.
Washington Theater. I don't remember where.
But it was in New York.
It was in the city,
frequently,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. It was definitely last year in the summertime sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like June, I think.
Yeah. Because I think I bought the tickets for his birthday, and it was like late May. So I
Dude,
think it was early
that
June.
was one of the most fun concert experiences I've ever had.
Oh yeah, it was great. Just looking around, just like wow, this is crazy. It's like all of these Sonic fans filling up every single seat, and then of course when Escape from the City itself plays, everybody explodes.
Dude,
Like,
that
this is
I've
so fun.
never heard a crowd that loud
For real.
than when that
Honestly.
song kicked in.
Good.
That was a top tier concert. But
A lot of fun.
are there any songs or bands that you want to cover in the future that you haven't yet?
Live and learn. At some point, we got to do it. At some
Violet
point, we
Anderson?
have to do it. No.
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 Not that. Because we saw another band play that live, so
Oh, really?
James, I hate this
Yeah.
conversation. Like, I hate this. I hate this for us.
Wait, are you talking about that the Linkin Park song? You live and you learn.
James, I'm gonna say it again. I hate this conversation.
Point of authority, that's it.
You live and you
We'll see
learn.
you when you're older.
Okay.
That is definitely one we've talked about getting in there. I forget if there are other like.
Well, who's that by?
Oh, that's
You know the answer to this
well, no,
question.
Live and Learn is on is like part of this one of
Yeah.
the Sonic soundtrack.
It's on Adventure. It's
That's
on
Adventure 2.
Or Adventure. No.
Yeah, it's open to Adventure 2. Adventure 1 was Open Your Heart, and I know that for a fact.
All right,
Nobody
all
loves
right.
that song
Okay.
nearly as much as I do, okay? And it makes me angry.
All right.
That's a great song. But all right, Live and Learn. Adventure 2.
Yeah, it's a Sonic Go song, regardless.
But yeah, definitely had that. There, I don't know. We're kind of like open to most anything. I mean, our past few Halloween shows that we did, we've done mashup covers of like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
it was fun.
It's like very interesting with a little bit of Britney on the end.
Yeah.
We did do that.
We've got like a lot of good stuff lined up this year, you know, like I think I don't even know if I have like ideas for covers for the futures right now because like what we're kind of gaming up for the rest of the year is like fun. Like
It's true. There's going to be some good twists and turns in what we're
I
planning.
mean, dude, if you guys are covering it in sync Backstreet and like Britney Spears type shit, I'm all about it.
It's funny, man. It's good to hear. It sounds like most people are because we did it at we debuted our Backstreet Boys one before the Halloween show at like it was like a backyard festival.
Yeah.
Cool.
This guy I forget exactly how he heard about us, but like he was like, "Oh, I love your sound. I'd love for you to play on this fest." It was he called it Manor Fest. He like hooked up a stage in his backyard, like giant, like nice property. And we were like, all right, so you all are probably gonna know this. And everybody was having the most fun when we played that. You know, they were the most into that. Ladies getting up and dancing and stuff. It's just like, all right, the classics still hit. You know?
Yeah.
It's been a point of contention in my life because I'm always like Team NSYNC, and my sister's hardcore Team Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
So we just, for God knows how long now, we've just been fighting back and forth about who's better. But
Hey,
NSYNC
listen,
all the way, dude.
they're both iconic.
And we did do it in sync.
And we did.
We did both.
We
We did both.
did
We did do both.
We don't play sides, right? We're just here to spread the.
We did do
spread the
Backstreet
love.
Boys first, though.
We did do Backstreet.
We did that first because they were better.
And I think we were already like, how do we play larger than life somehow? And instead, we were like, specifically.
Just play larger than life.
We had like a list of like a cover sheet we have still in a document somewhere of songs that all of us have picked out that we'd love to do, and we're all just like, all right, what are all songs that we can agree on from this list that we're like, okay, let's try them out. And Larger Than Life was on that one. I think a handful of us were like, yeah, that would be kind of cool to do, you know.
It's a great rock track.
It is.
Backstreet Boys is
It's
a
a
great,
banger of the song.
great rock track.
It just evolved into the medley. Yeah.
So ironically, I've always wanted to cover "It's Gonna Be Me" by NSYNC.
Oh yeah,
I've wanted to turn that into like a hard rock metal cover forever.
yeah.
Haven't done it.
Hey,
You gotta wait 11 months now,
Yeah, you can't do it until then.
or 10 months and 30 days, whatever it is. But yeah,
or refine a recording for the next almost a year, and then pop that sucker when you're ready. When the time comes.
April 30th.
Yeah.
to know, there's one you're keeping under wraps for now. I'm excited to hear what that is when the time comes. What's the most unexpected thing that people can hear from you guys at a show?
Unexpected. So unexpected, like if you're a newcomer coming into the show, I guess.
Like,
Or
you're enjoying what you're hearing at the bar. You're not sure if you're into the band yet, but you're leaning towards it. And then you guys play your song. Like, what would you call your song?
Oh, the song that would turn heads the most.
I want you to answer this first.
You know, this is not probably the true answer, but I feel like the most hits we've gotten is on our song "Beautiful."
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoy that song. It's kind of like more ballady, you know. But I've had a handful of people saying like, "Oh, that's such a," and from different walks of life, like, you know, which is, it's kind of astounding where people just like, random people in life are just like, that one right there, like, that's a great song, or that could be like a radio song or something. I'm just like, oh, that's awesome, I'm glad you love it. That one seems to, for whatever reason, get people on board. A friend of mine, I'm hanging out with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago with his girlfriend and a friend of his who's like, you know, coming in from like Korea, that he's like, oh, let's all go hang out, go to the beach. And he's just talking. I don't know how he got onto it. I didn't bring it up for sure, but he started talking up Beautiful, and it's just like, oh, you guys want to listen to the song? Like, are you okay with that? I'm like, at one point in time, I would have said no. That's kind of weird, but I'm like, you know what? I love that album. Go for it. Play it. Whatever. And we're just all sitting there, and by the end of it, she's like, I think that's such a great song. And the ladies in the back, they're just like, yeah, that was awesome. And I'm just like, this is cool that everybody kind of gets on board with it. It's just a universal kind of feel good kind of track that people can all kind of. There's an emotional through line in that song that I think catches.
Is that like a live staple for you guys?
We most shows we would play that. I think like 8 out of 10 we do.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
I think still to this day, like the most surprising, I think like all of our songs, we don't have a lot of songs that sound like identical. Maybe there's one or two when you look at like maybe End of an Era compared to like maybe some of the other like hard, like fast rock. Yeah. But I think all of our songs are actually pretty distinct. They all kind of sit in their own little, even on like the same album, there's not a song that really does the same thing. And we like, when writing, really actively try to make sure they all like these like distinct sound profiles and like different things going on. But what I would say is, if you were to hear us, I still think Race is like the most, maybe that's just a me answer. I think that song still to this day, and almost maybe there's like a piece of where it's so like not our band. It's so, at least like the opening, it still catches even my ear.
It's a very unique song.
It's super unique, and I think yeah, we've got a couple like kind of ear catching songs like that right off the bat. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song, I think.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
that song was inspired by. It was the only song inspired by like so I know I love Queens of the Stone Age for a couple albums, and that song was definitely inspired by them, whereas literally nothing else that we've ever done is. So like that's why that song probably stands out in its own way, because Queens is so weird, and that's where I was pulling like the inspiration from. So but yeah, that is a definitely a unique song.
Yeah,
that was one of those songs where like we had all the other stuff for the most part for something more like ready to go, and then that song was like an outlier. Like that doesn't quite fit on the rest of this. Like it's got to be its own thing.
And I remember like you showing me for the first time the like draft of that song. We like write a lot of our like drafts in MIDI, but you know, like in sound like
Guitar Pro.
Yeah.
It starts there, you know.
And I still remember like the second I heard it, I was like, whoa, that is super interesting. And I think we were probably in some shape or form working on other songs here and there that ended up being on the second album and stuff like that. But that one's still, I don't know. That's probably one of our favorite songs. One of my favorite songs we've done is Race, because there's just something special about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I will say, like, it's not a song and it's not necessarily that unexpected, but something that surprises me with the consistency of which like people come up to me and after a show and mention this, R.I.P. Jake, is how like every show somebody will be like, your guitarist is sick. Like every show we play, like they'll be like, Jake's fucking like awesome.
They
Like, you know,
told-
like
would tell you that. Tell
they
you.
told me because they know I'm the least, like, you know, talented member of the band. They're like, yo, you should take more things from Jake. No, but like, but seriously, like every
That's the
show
thing
they'll
you'll
be
see
like,
in one of our shows is how bad Yogi is.
yeah, right, yeah. The first thing they notice, and then the second they're like, well, but that guy, yeah.
For the record, Jake's not dead.
Well,
He's alive and well.
That's
He's not dead.
fair.
Well, like
In
people don't even
Brooklyn,
know me
so
when
well.
tell me that, and I'll be like, thanks, okay. Like, sorry.
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, we
I've heard it too. It's only
yeah.
On a completely serious note here, and I'll only give that a hot second. We did get incredibly lucky finding Jake.
He's great.
Because
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
a fantastic guitar player, and the way he just jives with us is so great.
Well, my thoughts and prayers are with you guys.
It's honestly been really difficult.
I hope my kind words get you through this trying time. So, what bands were you guys in previous to Pathmaker, or is this the first band for all you guys? I can't imagine it being, but
This is basically the main band I've been in. Honestly, before Pathmaker, I had a very short stint in a band called Wishlist. That was only around for a couple years. At least, certainly, I was only in it for a couple years. Which is kind of like a pop rock.
oh, cool.
What was that guy's name again? You'd probably even know. You heard?
It was
Was that guy with the bass player? Right?
Oh, I don't even know
Was
what you're talking
was
about.
that same band?
No.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
No.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the neon strings. Ocon.
Oh well,
Is that
that wasn't that band. No.
Oh.
I'm not gonna get into that.
So there are some things that are on
No, but that was like I was in like high school band.
Oh, okay.
Like and then like right after high school I was in this band called Wishlist. Was like small stint in that where we played some like Relay for Life and kind of fun things like that. And then pretty much I think soon after that kind of just stopped being a thing. I think I started on whatever level it was started playing with you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Yogi? What do you got under your belt?
I feel like I got a lot, but I know you also met a lot, so
I gotta think about it.
all right. So in high school, I was in a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band called the Sockmen.
Okay,
Right?
that's an awesome name.
Yeah, right. If you get it, yeah, it's pretty great. Half that band split up to form a deathcore band that I joined called Prenatal Beatdown.
Okay, sounds deathcore as fuck.
It was deathcore, but the only thing better was that the band members' younger brothers were in. You've heard this too many times. In a all breakdowns group called Vulcan Death Grip. Fucking awesome.
I remember that name.
Yeah, I mean it's also from Star Trek. You might have heard, heard it there, but in college I was in a band called Ultraviolet Medicine Man. It was kind of like almost like Animal Collective improv punk. I don't know how to really, whatever.
Those are good names.
What?
Those are good names.
Oh, these are all great band names. After college, I was in a band called Chaos. Was like me and my friend Will McBee, who's like one of the best drummers I've ever met. Like besides these two, like, I was in like a deathcore band with you for like 2 or 3 days before this started. Like, I forget. I don't know if it was just a James Solomon project or whatever.
Oh,
but
that stuff? Yeah.
yeah, like
Call that deathcore?
I don't know if I'll call it deathcore. Maybe like prog death
Like,
metal or something.
As
Prog
light
metal,
as
but
prog could get, groove metal,
yeah.
Kind of that Tesseract-y kind of thing, but like not nearly as good. Put it that way.
And in between, like just random kind of like cover gigs, like people be like, oh, let's play Modest Mouse for like a show, and I'll be like, fuck yeah, like,
So you're well versed, is what you say.
no, no, I suck, but but I've been, yeah, I've
Great
been, like,
guitar player though.
I mean, like, with Ultraviolet Medicine Man, I was like 18 and I went on tour around like New York and Massachusetts a little bit, so that was
nice.
kind of like,
You broke into the
that
lifestyle
kind
a
of
little
broke
bit.
me into like just how it all works. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, we got to call people, and whatever. Like, all that stuff kind of made sense to me.
I still can't get over the name Prenatal Beatdown.
Dude, that was
That's
the most
crazy.
fun. Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, and like the song names, because that was like the kind of era, like the song names were all ridiculous. It was like what was it? Flapjacks with syrup traps,
Oh my
chupacabra, you know, like it's
Was
just
it
called
like the
goat
mid
sucker.
2000s?
Yes, it was exactly that. It was like right
The
like as
MySpace
post
era.
hardcore was like the most popular. So it was like Blood Brothers, Arsonists, Get All the Girls, Jumper, Cowboy, Let's Do It. Like
That's
Think
awesome.
about how ridiculous that name is. And
you're right, all those band names are fun. That's what I mean. Like that was the time to do that.
Yeah.
The Horse the Band was like our favorite thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually going to see them June 19th.
Job for a Cowboy?
No, Horse the
Oh.
Horse the Band.
Ah.
I never heard of
I heard the name Job for a Cowboy for the first time. Megadeth was doing their like Gigantor tour.
Yeah.
I think it was the second or third iteration of it, and I was like, "That's such a stupid band name." Like, it was like, who's gonna put a fucking country band on a Megadeth tour? And I
Well,
listened
yeah.
to them, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh yeah, they're like the most brutal band ever. You know,
Yeah.
it's wild.
But also some of the nicest dudes that I've met. They're so fucking nice. I couldn't get over it. But yeah, they're ridiculous. I love that band.
Like 9 out of 10 times, those crazy heavy bands end up being like really incredibly nice guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Like guys will be like, oh, you'll
Yep.
be like, hey man, how's
Yep.
it going after the show? You know, just the highest like.
My
music.
favorite example is Corpse Grinder winning stuffed animals for sick kids.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Right. That's correct.
And not even just at Christmas. He does that shit all year.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
He's a
Love
good
that.
dude.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So, James, bands that you've
Oh.
been in.
Right. Okay. So back in the early days, I started out as a drummer. So
Okay.
I was a drummer in. Me and my good friend Charlie had always been in bands with him. Shout out to Charlie. But he was my guitar player. Phenomenal.
What's Charlie's last name?
Mule?
I know Charlie.
You do.
Yep.
Yeah,
You definitely know.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows Charlie. No, but no,
I
I
miss
think,
Charlie. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
yeah, I think he's living
Let
upstate
me
right
just-
now.
It's true. So you used to be in a band with Charlie Mule.
Yes. I was in bands, multiple iterations of a band, or however you want to put it, with him for years. So I started out playing drums, and we knew each other honestly since we were kids, and then kind of didn't see each other through most of elementary school, and then back when we got into middle school, we were in a class together. We was just like, "Oh, dude, you're a drummer. We should be in a band together." He was doing some other thing with a couple other friends. I don't know. I guess it all kind of fizzled out by high school. I distinctly remember like start of high school is when I really started to get into stuff with him. We started out as like a hard rock band that just did like covers for the most part. And then we moved into kind of like an alt metal-ish kind of band. I think the earliest iterations of our band's name was Storm the Beach. We had a friend who was in the band that like had all this kind of like military kind of, you know, love for some reason. I don't know, it was all like army love or something. So it started out as Storm the Beach, then we changed and got a little bit heavier, and it became Stuck in Stasis, and then that changed to Break from Stasis. Then we decided to ditch alt metal, hard rock in general, and go into a progressive era, which the name of that band was Avidity. And that one we had actually a really good lineup of some great players for a while. And then it just, yeah, it kind of got away from us. We got this I think we got a singer that kind of was known in the local scene as a band killer. Like he would join bands and they would just disband within a couple months after he joined. I don't know, something about his like way of being or whatever. Yeah, it was kind of rough. So that band didn't last a whole super long time. And then I like in that right around that time too, when I realized that band's not for me, is when I was starting to write all this other stuff or start to play. Like I had met or I'd known from high school, our buddy Chuck we mentioned earlier, like and a good friend of ours, Marco. I knew that we all liked similar stuff, and it was all like in the hard rock era of like Foo Fighters-y. And I was like, dudes, we should all be in a band together. Like, let's totally do that. So that was happening like tail end of high school, going into college, and that's where the semblances of what would be Pathmaker kind of started. And then found Evelyn here, and then that's like, okay, we have our full band, you know. And then it's just been Pathmaker ever since. Charlie's come in here and there, like we've had certain groups and stuff that we've tried to bring some stuff together. Oh, I forgot, our last iteration of our band was called Beauty and Distortion. That was the last iteration before doing Pathmaker all the time.
You remember the name of Pathmaker before it was Pathmaker? We played one show under this name, and I remember
Troll Rage?
just Troll Rage.
Yeah. Yes.
Literally had to make up a name essentially for one show.
It was Troll Rage.
It was
Yeah. our bassist at the time was like he's just a fun guy. You know, he's a crazy dude. Shout out Mick.
He would say troll rage and then his eyes would bulge.
It's just like
as-
troll rage,
yeah.
you know. It was. I don't. We didn't even actually decide that. He just told the guy like, "Oh yeah, can you just announce this as troll rage?" Like he really wanted it to catch on. He's hilarious, man.
What's
But,
Nick's last name?
His last name is Marr. Mick Marr, Michael Marr.
I don't know.
He was I think he grew up in like Huntington area.
He's a fancy lawyer now.
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
fancy
cool.
lawyer.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the only Mick I know is from Lucid Dreams.
Oh yeah, Mick's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Lucid Dreams is incredible. I love those guys. They're all so great.
Yeah.
They're all so talented.
I haven't seen Mick in a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
I mean, it sucks. How many people I haven't seen since like fucking before COVID?
Yeah. Oh, since before COVID, you haven't seen him. Really?
I
Oh, okay.
So my last band broke up during COVID,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
Mick was at almost all of our shows. He was tight with my singer, so
Okay.
he would always come up for a mic grab, feature on a couple of our songs
Mm.
live.
Oh, nice, okay.
But like, yeah, after that broke up, I kind of fell out of the scene for a bit. So
Okay. Gotcha.
after years and years of not playing, I'm like, I feel so fucking out of touch with it.
Mhm.
But some of the bands that I was familiar with are still out there crushing it. Thank God.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's hard to maintain sometimes too. You know, life gets in the way.
Dude, it's
For a
hard,
lot of
man.
people.
It's
Yeah.
hard. If I did not lose my job, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you.
so it's like kind of a blessing in disguise because
Yeah.
I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, but at the same time, I've also wanted to get into another band for a long time.
Mhm.
So like, I'm glad that I had the ability to do something.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I
Mhm.
hear you. Yeah.
but yeah,
That's
it's keeping
good,
me in
man.
touch with all you guys do. So
Right. Nah. Yeah. I'm sure that it fills in that void a bit, right?
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, it bridges a gap.
Yeah. I get that. I get that.
So, previous band members, like you've had a lot of experiences, I'm sure, a lot of good and bad. What would you call your favorite memory of any band you've been in or any show you've played?
Favorite memory experience.
I will always let you tell the story because I feel like I can never. I still will. I'll never forget how we decided on Pathmaker. Like I'll never. I'll.
Yeah.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but
No, I remember that. So, so Pathmaker was an idea that was milling around since Chuck's basement, I think.
Yeah.
So for a long time, let's put it that way. I think we stopped really practicing with that group in 2016 and started kind of getting back into it in early 2017. So it even been like a while.
Mhm.
And I was like, I really just keep coming back to this name. I don't know why. It feels right. And it was at that time, it was just me, Evelyn, and our bassist at the time, Mick.
Troll Rage Mick.
The Troll Rage
Yeah.
Mick. Yeah. So, and we're like, okay, we kept talking about it. Everybody was like, man, I don't know about Pathmaker. Definitely Mick was like, I don't really care for that name, right? But Evelyn was always, at the very least, on the fence, geared toward maybe even not going that way.
For sure.
Until one day, I don't know.
Well,
First-
Mick and I were given the job
Of
finding a different name.
Because I kind of settled, like, I don't know that I can come up with something better than this for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
something else, nothing else is popping to me. So, like, guys, go for it. You know?
Yeah. So Mick and I were feverishly trying to come up with a name. I believe I had a list of probably about 100. Mick had a list of about
At least
100.
100 too.
God.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And there was cross comparing the lists, and I think like we went through the whole creative process of the. I think we filtered it down to a couple of hits.
Yeah.
And I think we ended up at practice on one of these days, and we had been toiling over this for a couple weeks, if not months, at that point.
Yeah.
And we ended up landing on it like a blatant Kingdom Hearts 2
Yeah.
reference. We were toying with the name Radiant Garden, which it's a totally Kingdom Hearts reference.
Really just appeals to my love. And
I mean, like, it was, yeah.
It was just something that, like, okay, that's something that can get me on board and get away from Pathmaker for sure.
There's a
You know?
good chance that Mick and I picked it exclusively because we had to sell it to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had this entire practice.
Mhm.
We picked the name, and like I don't remember exactly all the conversations that, but like we like landed on that. Yep, we're Radiant Garden now.
Let's do it.
And then I'll you pick it up from there.
And then we're on our way.
It was you and me.
We're on our way home.
Yeah,
right?
Mick is going back.
So,
we drove together.
Yeah, in Huntington, we're going like it's like south on New York Avenue, and he has to go north to go home. And there's like a diner close off of New York Ave. That comes into play when I'm driving down, and I get a call from Evelyn being like, "Hey, do you got a second?"
I was in my own car.
Yeah, I think you called.
That makes sense.
I think you called me, and then we
yeah,
met at the
that
place.
makes sense. Yeah,
Or we were
So
or we were in
long.
the same car, and you're just like, I know, I'm pretty sure you called me though, because I remember.
I
being
think
like,
you're
"Okay,
right.
we're
I think
over."
you're right.
So Evelyn called me. I was just like, hey, I'm really thinking about the name thing. I feel like the name really is Pathmaker, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I was just like, okay, we just had a big conversation about it. Like, I mean, what? And they were like, okay, there's a diner nearby. Why don't we go sit down and we'll talk about it? Like, why are you feeling this way? Whatever. So we get there. We went into the diner. We sat down and read, and we're having this conversation about all this stuff. And it was just like, okay, so then we both agree that the name should be Pathmaker.
Yeah, I think what I ended up landing on is like we had this big, meeting. This is the name, blah 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 blah. And I couldn't escape the thought as I'm driving home in the aftermath of that, like, we only picked this because we had no better idea. Essentially. Like this was the best of the grasping at straws ideas we had.
Right. Closest it had ever gotten by a long shot.
I couldn't escape that, and it was just like, okay. And I think I just couldn't get away from. I don't think I would have been able to show up to practice next week or whatever without being like, we made a terrible mistake.
But the best part of this all comes in where we're on our way out, and we're like, okay, well, we need to call Mick and let him know, like, this is what we.
It's not the name of the band anymore. Yeah.
Right. So we call him up. This is where we're both in my car for sure.
Yeah.
We call him up. It's like, hey, yeah, what's going on? So Mick, Evelyn and I, we're sitting here. We were talking about it. Evelyn actually just had like the thought of like, actually, Pathmaker should be the name. We just had to talk about it. And Mick's like stops instead of tries. He's just like, where are you guys? I'll come meet you guys right now. Let's talk about this. Because he did not want the name to be Pathmaker. I don't know. He just had it in his head. He wanted it to be something else. He's just like, where are you guys? Sure, like, where are you? I'll come talk to you. He was just, he would have driven anywhere to get to talk about it.
It was like one out of an intervention.
Yeah, it was hilarious. We were dying because like how serious he was coming off. That's like, dude, sorry, but like this is just the way the chips are falling here. It just kind of feels like that's the way it's gonna be. It's just like, okay, but like, are you sure? And it's like, yeah, man. Like he's like, well, all right. I mean, if this is what you really want, we can hear the disappointment in his voice, But at the end of the day, it just we landed on that. It was the right decision. That is definitely a highlight moment because it was just so.
I'll just never forget it.
Funny.
Yeah, I'll just never forget it. That's like a ingrained memory of how the band was formed.
At least as far as like seminal pieces of our history, that is definitely a big one because we landed on our name that way. As far as like shows goes, I mean, I feel like my favorite thing that we have done is the Halloween show.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
because it's only ever gotten better every year, and honestly, if you want to talk
my
about
favorite was the first one.
That was a great show.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say that's my tied for favorite show.
And
ever.
we always kind of exist in this middle ground or this like gray area of like, was it our favorite show because we were all shit faced? We're not really sure.
Here's the thing. The audience was shit-faced, and that's what made it so fucking.
It was a great show.
Is that like
it was a great
you
show?
play shows at bars a lot. People don't get that shit-faced because they don't have enough money to get But at a party in someone's backyard, they get hammered.
It was under a giant
when you're playing a good show, like the audience will flip the fuck out if they're all like, yeah, that was that show. It was great.
So essentially, I think it was summer of 2019. I think it was August. It was around my birthday or something. We get an offer from one of Yogi's friends to be like, hey, I'm doing this like Halloween show, but we're doing it in the summer and we're calling it Summerween. You're just gonna come, everybody can dress up as whatever they want. I was just like, that sounds awesome. Like, yeah, we love Halloween and doing it in the summer would be great. So you just get it again later in the year, like whatever. It was awesome. He decked out his backyard with like all of this Halloween stuff and like put up like a tent where we can perform in and stuff like that, and just everybody's hanging out on the lawn, drinking, having fun. It was fantastic. We did get obliterated that day.
Obliterated.
Like real shit face. Like more than I've ever done again or before. Like,
Yeah.
I've never gotten that drunk while playing again. To be fair, I do remember we weren't that good, but everybody else was also so drunk that they were just
It was
eating it up.
awesome.
It was a
eating it up.
great show.
Yes, great show. But that was definitely a highlight moment for sure.
What's so cool about that show also was like they rented out for this party like legit Halloween kind of like movie props essentially
Yeah.
like
Yeah, decorations,
quality
yeah.
like
They had a big tent, you
body
know.
bags
Fire.
it was so
Yes.
cool and that show had a vibe like that
Yeah,
was
definitely.
yeah
Very cool
I
vibe.
still have that dog yeah
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was-
no, he's-
yeah
he's
one,
still-
one of the props may have made its way into my car and I still have it you know I feel
That-
like it's been
that-
long enough that it's okay to talk about it.
yeah. It's not
It's
gonna,
hiding in my
not gonna matter
closet.
now. Yeah, but that definitely inspired us to want to do more of that stuff again. And we were talking with this friend for a while too to see if we can get another thing like that going. And then eventually we realized it wasn't going to happen with him again. But it also spurned the Monster Moss show that we do every year because we were going to do like everything that could have gone wrong for this guy basically did. We were going
Yeah.
to do this thing in his like he had like a farm area and had this like big barn that we were going to do stuff in. We were trying to hook it up, but then he had so much shit hit him in his life like over the course of 6 months.
Yeah.
And it
Literally
was
got,
like
infection on his hand and
Yeah,
shit. Like it was
yeah.
like a whole thing.
like some internet scam money thing that something
Yeah,
like he
it
was,
was a
he
lot,
was
it was
having
a
a
lot.
lot.
It was more than that too.
That
It was
was happening to him, not that he was like doing to people.
Yeah.
Like it was messed up, and it was like okay, like
was like-
we're gonna let this go, you know.
Yeah.
But at that time, we had also gotten Rob Pepe from Dead Within Days, his then band Agony of the Fallen, in to do it with us
Oh, nice.
because he'd always wanted to do a Halloween show thing too. So we're like, hey, listen, this isn't happening. It's just like, shit, that sucks. I really wanted to do that. What if we were able to hook it up but somewhere else? And that's where the whole thing came from. Like, okay, let's look for VFW halls and try to find a spot where we can throw on a Halloween show ourselves. And that's what led to us doing that for the past 3 years, coming on 4. And that, to me, like every time now that those have come on, they've only been better. They've only gotten more people. And we've had more stuff going into it, better production sound, better like stuff going through our decorations and stuff. Those are so much fun.
Yeah.
Love those.
And where do you typically throw those?
So we've thrown them every year. It's been at the Polish American Independent Club in Port Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's very native to a lot of us.
this year's is November 1st.
November 1st.
Yeah.
Oh,
this
dope.
year,
We have it already scheduled and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be posted on socials at some point for tickets and all that stuff.
Yeah, always trying to make it bigger and better too as years go on. See
Yeah.
what could have been done better. See what we can add to like make it a better experience overall. Because it really is like we want to throw a party and a show at the same time. So like we're trying to get a little bit more of the party vibe into this time around. But people seem to be loving it. We have like costume contests and stuff that we do. Like so it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun.
Any way I can help with that, let me know.
Yeah, please. I appreciate that. Thank you very
Shout
much.
it out or whatever you guys need. More
Yeah,
stuff
thank
for
you.
it, So.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, local music is such a huge thing to me. I've been a part of the scene for so long, and like, I've bled this shit. So
Yeah.
like to see bands that or people in general just coming up with these ideas and they're turning into a tradition at this point. It's so cool to see.
Yeah.
You know, so I fully back all that kind of stuff. So
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
when you get more details, let me know, and I'll start shouting out as soon as we get it going.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we that's a little community we've kind of gotten together with Dead Within Days now and RTT where it's
Yeah.
like this is our shtick. This is what we do. This is our big one of the year, you know. We love it.
So now,
Something I also will say, just being this music podcast
Yeah.
and all that, like I definitely in my experience, like with this band, with like bands I've played in the past, the best shows to play and go to, honestly, are house party shows.
yeah,
Like I know it's hard because a lot of us are millennials, whatever, we just don't have money for houses. But like the ability to have property in a backyard and have people there or like play it in your house is by far like the best experience,
Yeah.
especially on the lounge where like bars so expensive and everything. And it's like hard to get people to come out to see original music on, let's say, like a Thursday or a Friday. You know, like I really kind of hope that that becomes more normal again, that's something that people try to strive for, is just like having shows in their house, because it's like because as much as like noise ordinances or things, don't get me wrong, it's hard to have that without violating some kind of code. It's like people like are way more in touch with each other and community, and like they'll like actually mosh, you know, like or something, as opposed to like, you know, like a bar where they're like, I don't want to be, you know, like too crazy. Like it's a whole different atmosphere.
So I don't know. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 37, and like right now, it's like that era of people starting to own homes, but
Right.
people don't really want to like have shows in their backyards and shit. It's very like respectful
get
of
the
the
cops
neighbors,
called on them.
right? But it is coming back. It is a thing that's happening. The
That's
fucking
awesome to hear.
American Rejects, dude. They're doing a backyard tour right now.
Right.
That
That
is
is
like
what
holy
made me
shit,
really
dude.
start thinking about that. I heard that and I was like, fucking yes, dude. People should start really getting on that. Like,
I think just in general, like what I gather, I don't look into this too much, but I think because of just prices of venues and like just like for a whole bunch of ways, things are more difficult financially. I think what's happening is people are finding more creative ways to have those things happen.
They have to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a necessity. It's not even a
Yep.
want. It's
Yep.
if you want to make something happen, you gotta find a way.
That is so true.
Which is cool. It's certainly cool to I don't know, upend some of that stuff.
The coolest thing I ever saw MTV do, right, was they had this contest in the 90s. It was called MTV in Your Backyard. And you basically sent something in, you know. You would send, like, you know, a raffle ticket or whatever in. If they picked your name out of the hat, they would come to your house, get a bunch of people, and invite a band. So there's people with, like, White Zombie in their backyard while they're, like, jumping, like, people are jumping on a trampoline and shit. Like, it's, phenomenal.
I've seen that video, too.
Right,
That's awesome.
That needs to come back, for sure.
Even a couple of years ago, Taking Back Sunday did that shit.
Right.
They were showing someone's backyard in Lindenhurst because they were filming. They did a full show.
Yeah.
But it was like you have to be in the know kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people knew, and it was flooded, and then other people just found out afterwards. But it was a backyard party featuring one of Long Island's biggest bands.
Right.
And like that kind of shit, dude, that is paving the way for a more acceptable DIY ethic. Because like noise ordinance is a thing, but I also feel like it has a lot to do with the kind of music you're playing too. If it's friendlier music like Taking Back Sunday or All American Rejects, or if like you play songs people know, no one's gonna really give you shit. But if it's like deathcore, metalcore, you know, if it's the heavy stuff, it's not as friendly to neighbor ears, and like it doesn't blend well with that.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you got to do it like mid afternoon. Do like barbecue status, 2:00 in the afternoon. Show starts and done by 8:00.
Which would still do well, I'm sure.
It can kill if you do a party like that, and then the rest of the night you can do a cover band or some shit.
Yeah.
If you could play a backyard day show near what is it? Oh no, that place is closed down now. Never mind.
What?
I was thinking of the place that has the stickers. Bordy Bar.
Bordy Bar.
You could play one of those near Bordy Bar. That'd be tight. You'd be like,
Yeah.
come out with all the stickers and beers.
Yeah, like probably able to play anything too. They'd be so drunk.
Right? Yeah, they don't give a
You
shit.
could just turn your amp on; they're gonna go ape shit. Yeah, there is. I haven't done too many parties. I've only done actually, I think one that I can remember. It was Maria Materesa's party. I don't even remember what the name of her band used to be, but she was in it with Jordan, who. Fuck, I don't even know what his real last name is anymore. He changes it so much on Facebook. I think it's currently Jordan Monreluc.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you mean.
It might start with an F. I don't know.
Fontana?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. I think they remember that. Because the name
He's in a
changed.
bunch of deathcore bands right now. He's like kind of blowing up as a vocalist. But
Yeah?
like, yeah. That was his first thing though. And like it was Maria's graduation party from high school, and Logan's room played there. And it went well, but we all kind of dipped after we played because like the rest of the scene was much heavier, and I felt like kind of embarrassed me. It's like we're this like hard rock band that gets slightly heavy, and everyone else is like just gutturals and shit. Like, oh, we're out of place.
We've played shows like that too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Time. That's
like,
we'll play with anybody.
Yeah,
we will play with anybody.
we have a lot of friends in different places, like musically that like we played a show with Terrigenous.
Yeah.
I remember them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like
Phil
incredible
Montalbano's the
progressive.
band.
What was the name?
Phil Montalbano.
I
He was
actually
their
don't
bassist
recognize.
back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Victoria
oh,
replaced him
replaced him.
probably.
Okay, yeah. That's
They're
fine.
still kicking.
Yeah, and
yeah.
they're fantastic.
They're actually on our
They're on our
Halloween
coming
tour, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
making sure. I was like, I don't.
I forgot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had thought about the lineup because I knew we set that a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they'll be there. But yeah, like we have a good rapport with them. Like we've been to many of their shows, they've come to many of ours, and it's like then they ask us to play a show with them, and then they have all these like heavy bands or progressive bands, and it's just there we are. It's weird, okay, but we'll do it.
We
We'll just
we
pull
own
out
it.
our
we,
heaviest.
we own it. We
Oh yeah,
We'll do it with a smile.
We try to tailor it a little bit, like try to get our weirder songs out there, our heavier songs out there. It's like it's
We like prep the crowd a little bit,
Yeah.
like this is gonna be the worst thing you hear tonight. You're gonna hate this. I know this is not why you came here tonight.
That's my favorite part.
But yeah.
When I was talking to Monolith last week, we have a mutual worst show ever.
Yeah.
It was the last show both of us played right before COVID. We both were opening for Cabal and the Last 10 Seconds of Life at Rev.
Okay.
Our last show before COVID was at Revolution 2.
Yeah.
You opened it for Richie Ramone, yeah.
Oh shit.
That's right. We did that.
That was with Charlie too. Like,
We Burn Your Bridges was a heavy band, but we weren't deathcore. We were definitely, by every definition, a metalcore band. And deathcore fans typically hate metalcore bands for whatever reason. We got on stage and we played to a dead crowd. Monolith Zero is very not that crowd. Their music at that time was a lot lighter. It was heavy, but it was like a lighter, more fun side of heavy. Very Devin Townsend-esque. They're a phenomenal band, and like they got completely disrespected. I felt so bad for both of us. I saw Nick in the parking lot after the show. I was like, "So this sucks, huh?" He's like, "Yeah, this is a bad one." And everyone else in my band was like, "Oh, we should take the show." I'm like, sometimes we should say no.
Yeah.
Sometimes we should just read the room and say no because we really didn't fucking belong there. But yeah, I mean, similarly, I'll hop on any show if it makes sense. But I've played some shows where I'm like, man, was it really worth it?
We are judging that all the time ourselves too.
It's true. Yeah.
It's become,
You gotta do it.
it's kind of like become a thing in the last year or two. We've actually started practicing and getting better at. It's like saying no to shows.
Yeah,
I've noticed like more than ever. We're like, maybe we should do that one. I gotta,
Well, like I'm sure that you and every artist, local or otherwise, has experienced it too. Where it's just like, is there any, and I mean literally any benefit from playing a particular show? Like, it'd be the benefit could be we're having a blast, and that's great. And for the most part, you'll get that at shows, but like not if you know no one's going to be there,
right?
Not if you know if it's going to be like way out of the way to the point where you're not going to have any people that are going to be there to see you or anything like. And like like we all know nobody's getting paid, so it's definitely something we've sat with more and just been like, is this worth the effort, the time putting this in?
Or certainly when you're weighing two shows, or hey, if we do this one, we might now we might not be able to do one that might come along in a month or like
actually
whatever.
So there was some random person hit us up on our Instagram, was just like, hey, we have a show, heard your sound, that was really cool. We have a show lined up at Uber Geek, we'd really love you to play. We're like, okay, we're already playing Uber Geek in June. We're already playing Uber Geek in July, and what they was pitching us was like a week after.
Yeah.
In August, a week after the 26th show, we're just like, there's no way we can do that.
Yeah.
First off, it's Riverhead. Second off, we're playing the same place 3 times. We're not getting all the people out there probably even twice.
Yeah.
So like, it's just rough. Like some things you gotta weigh the options.
So we Burn Your Bridges did a show at Blackthorn. We opened for Agnostic Front.
Okay.
And yeah.
I'm the only one who knows it.
On paper, that seemed sick.
Okay, sorry.
We knew like this was gonna be a show that sells. Like straight up knew it was gonna be a packed house. We were in between singers, so our rhythm guitarist hopped on vocals for a night, and like one of our big songs that we would do, we'd always cover Unholy Confessions by Advanced.
Yeah.
So we're playing to this room. We're about 3 songs in, about to do the Avenged cover, and like no one's moved a muscle. Like they're all just like the whole time just stone facing us. I'm like, oh shit. So Andy grabs the mic and he's like, any Avenged Sevenfold fans? And like in a room of 200 people, one guy in the middle of the room goes, I was like, oh fuck. Let's not play it. Just skip it. Don't play it.
Like
we still played it. No one gave a fuck about us. I thought we fit on that bill. We did not fit on that bill.
Wow.
Punk fans do not like metalcore. But the rest of the night, every other band got a huge reaction. And like I was kicking my own ass because I didn't want to take the show. and we're loading all of our shit out. I was debating leaving, and my drummer runs up to me. He goes, "Jesse Leach just walked in the door." I was like, "What did you say to me?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Jesse from Killswitch just walked through the door." I was like, "Did he see us?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Thank God." I was like, "But I don't know if you know, like Jesse lives in New York, so he would occasionally pop in at a show." But I was like, "There's no fucking way he's here. Probably some dude with a mohawk
Yeah.
at an agnostic front show." And I walked in. I was like, "Oh fuck, that's Jesse."
Actually,
And I'm like, not only was he there, he was moshing with every other band.
Mm.
Like, I was like, damn it. So the only person in that crowd that might have enjoyed us would have been him.
Right.
And he came in as soon as we were done.
damn.
Like, the rest of the crowd lightened up so much with every other band that night, though. It's fucking wild.
Dude, it's rough.
Yeah, sometimes I like sometimes it's some not controllable.
Yeah.
It happens.
I got a worse
Yeah.
show story, right?
Go for it.
So
I love
Yeah.
answering this.
that band I went on tour with, Ultraviolet Medicine Man, when I was young, right? Like the the guitarist's girlfriend was our manager for that tour, right? She did not want to do it. She like just didn't give a shit and just kind of was like phoning shit in one day. Not important. Anyway, so she was like, "Okay, stop 3 is in Rochester. We're playing a festival called the Light Festival." I'm like, "Sounds cool enough." She's like, "Yeah." She lied. She was like, "Oh, it's like a psychedelic thing, right? Like you guys are a psychedelic band, kind of, so you'll fit right in there." We're like, "Okay, sounds dope. That sounds like a festival. Wow, we got on a festival. Awesome." We get there, and it's a church, like a show inside a church where the festival is like a bunch of people selling like
Oh,
like
no.
trinkets and like hobbits or whatever those things are called, like the things for
Gnomes?
church people.
Oh no
The you know, like the white angel things,
Oh,
statues, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Whatever. So like,
Hobbits.
yeah, right, hobbits. I don't know why that's. We're like loud, like too loud,
Yeah.
right? And we're playing in this church, and the only other people in the church, because like there's 2 people, old ladies maybe walking through buying shit, they leave immediately once we start playing. So the only people we're playing to are the vendors, who are furious that we got rid of their 2 customers all day, right? So we're just playing, and there's no microphones. They didn't tell us this too before we got in the show, that there's no fucking microphones. So we're just literally playing and screaming at a bunch of vendors who don't want us there. That is like, that was fucking uncomfortable. And then somehow this got even weirder. We're like, we knew we did bad and we finished. We're packing our shit up, right? And this guy gets on stage. He's this really sweaty, like Filipino man in his 50s, like very short, like kind of balding, whatever. He's like, "Oh, guys, that show was great." And we're like, "Wow, thanks, man." He's like, "You guys ready, excited to see me?" And we're like, "Sure, whatever, you know." He gets off stage out of his normal clothes and comes back on an all silver, like sequin jumpsuit.
Yes.
And he's doing, I shit you not, a perfect James Brown. Like
Really?
he's sliding across the stage,
Oh.
dancing, going, "Yeah!" You know, like killing it. And the like vendors love him. And we're like, like, really? How did we fucking miss this so bad that we're like,
I mean,
we didn't know we were opening up for Filipino James Brown, like in a church,
I never saw the guy, and I love him already.
right? He brought his own mic too. You
Wow.
fucking
Oh.
he knew what he
Smart man. Smart man.
Sorry, guys, had to pause real quick for an off-camera story. So coming back in now, you guys, outside of Pathmaker, you have other projects that you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
So right now, I am also in a Foo Fighters tribute.
Oh,
For all the love of Foo Fighters that I've been talking about today, where I am the Dave Grohl doing the singing and the guitar playing stuff. Some of which Yogi's actually going to be helping us out with a couple gigs going in the future. I think we have definitely one lined up in July.
I think it's July 25th.
July
the day
25th.
before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Pathmaker show.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Dang.
for MGR Fest, we're going to be playing a show at 89 North with Foo
Oh,
for
very
All.
cool.
And then I think we have another one lined up in early September that he's going to be joining us for too. I'm not entirely sure if that one's solid yet, though. I got to figure that out still. But yeah, that's going on. I know I'm working on another 2000s pop era band right now. It's kind of getting that off the ground. And really just, whatever I can find. Because now, like, I'm jobless.
Yeah.
Happily so. But also that can't last forever. So trying to find anything to do in music. Actually, next week, Foo for All has a gig with our guitar player. It's going to be his last show. That is on the 12th, I think, is a Wednesday. Might be the 11th. That is at Catch in Venetian, Catch Venetian, something like that. It's in Lindenhurst, I believe.
Oh, cool.
And the day after, actually, I'll be performing acoustic solo at McBride's in Belmore.
And is that just Pathmaker stuff?
Yeah, some Pathmaker stuff. I have a couple songs, or a song in there that's going to be one of my own, and then like a cover or so, something like that. But I'm gonna be playing that with DJ from Evelyn actually, and
nice.
Jimmy from Craving Stretch.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it should be fun. We haven't done that in a long time, since probably before COVID.
It's just you guys all like acoustically?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah,
fun.
it's been a long
Yeah.
time. I don't know if you remember KJ Farrell's venue. So they used to do those all the time there. And every so often, they rotate out certain artists and stuff, and I got to do a couple with them. Actually, Evelyn, I think, also got to join me for a couple too.
Yeah.
But like, I miss them, and also just got to get out there and play more, just to build up a repertoire and be able to tell people, hey, I do this stuff if you want. If you need a guy. But yeah, you also have some stuff that's coming down the pipe.
I'm like a crazy person. I write like orchestra compositions, and I'm leaning much harder in that territory. So I've been like propping up a little bit more of like my own personal stuff, like I said, like long form compositions, and that's really been what I've been like working on the side a lot right now, is like tons and tons of orchestra stuff. Like, yeah.
And those compositions are meant for what exactly? Like, are you going for anything that'll take
Right
them?
now it's
music,
right now it's
score?
really just releasing stuff under my own label. At some point, I think my goal is to go into like composing for games, movie, TV, somewhere in that territory. But there will be a period where I go through a little bit of whatever I can get, because not a lot of people can do what I do on with the instruments I do, like, so
the actually the intro track and outro portion of Home Alone, like you hear, like, this little, like, the soundscape kind of thing going on. That's all Evelyn.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Perfect Storm has an intro.
And Perfect Storm has an intro as well. That was crafted by Evelyn as well.
Do you know who Emily Hopkins is?
No, I don't.
No, she's from Long Island. She's a harp player.
Oh, cool!
Fantastic harp player. She used to do weddings a lot. She would go to a lot of wedding expos, get hired on the gigs, and she would always play like contemporary songs on harp. So like, I heard Jay-Z from her. I heard fucking Linkin Park. I heard Blink 182. But like, that's the things that she'll play if you want her to. She'll play anything. She shied away from that, started her own YouTube channel, and she is composing for video games and scoring shows and movies. Could be worth to reach out to her.
I would love that. I will. I'll talk with you in a second. I'll get her name.
For sure.
That's awesome.
I mean, I don't have her contact number, so you just reach out to her on Instagram or Facebook or something. But
I'll do the homework.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Yeah, she's very nice. I met her a couple times. She's a super cool person. But everything she posts on her channel is like so much fun to even just watch. So
awesome.
Yeah. She would, hopefully, if you get in contact with her, she'll be able to like guide you in the right direction. Like, get it started with that.
Yeah, that girl that does like the pedal reviews.
Yep.
Wait, the girl with the glasses?
Yeah.
Yo, you know her? That's
I don't know her.
I said he didn't
I
know
don't
her.
know. Yeah, right. Sorry. I was like, damn, I watch all of her shit. Like,
I wish I did. She's
yeah.
cool as shit, but no, she actually played my friend's wedding.
Oh wow,
that was the last wedding she ever did. She did a special for them because we went to an expo, and like, we all saw her playing Jay-Z, and he's like, "Hey, that's awesome. How much do you charge to play?"
Yeah, right.
And at that point, she was booking her last weddings. So, but super down to earth. So, yeah, she does all the pedal shit. She does a lot of like she does a lot of cosplay, like bad cosplay. Like, she'll dress up like Pokemon and shit.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that'd be cool if you can link up with her and like get started on that.
Absolutely, yeah, I'd be curious to at least talk to her a little bit.
Yeah. That's cool. You guys have so much going on.
And just now about like, if Jake, I don't think Jake is doing anything right now outside of us, but he does have like his main occupation now is doing guitar work out of his home. So but when he needs guitar work, he does fantastic stuff. I will go to no one else besides him, not because I have a bias. He still charges me, but because he is genuinely great. But I think we've also discussed maybe doing a little cover thing on the side just to get some, since we're all in the unemployed status right now.
Yeah, I believe in my job Friday, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah?
we
Oh, that's
literally
fine.
will all be unemployed by the end of this week.
You will be there.
Self-unemployed. I don't know.
I don't know if there are any other plans that you had in mind of like something that you wanted to get into or that you're
Musically, well, right, like most of my stuff is kind of wrapped up in like Pathmaker, Foo for All Fam. My dad is like is a musician. He's in like this band called Four Shades of Grey, but he started his own thing with his cousin who's like a Vietnam vet called Falco Family Band or whatever. But like they've played a couple different like shows for like benefits for like veterans things like we were talking about suicide and stuff.
Yeah.
Their specific benefit is for veterans who don't have like mental health help and need to like be like
cool.
suicide counselors and stuff. We're
That's a
playing the
good
show
cause.
October 25th.
Ooh.
I wasn't like asked to play the show. They were just like, "Yo, you're playing
You
the
were
show,"
told to
so
play.
like classic dad form.
You were
but,
voluntold.
Yeah, right. Like I was just told it's happening, but it's still a cool thing, like shout
That's
out
awesome.
to them or whatever. So
That's
Yeah.
a big thing to be a part of.
it's also crazy because they're trying to take Falco Family Band because there's like guys on the island who are famous, like Andy Falco. I think there's
Yeah.
another guy who are like they're like, oh no, we gotta be the famous Falco, so we'll be the Falco Family Band. It's like a very weird dig toward Andy Falco. No offense, Andy Falco, you're probably cool, like but there's that. I think I'm also starting a noise band with somebody, but that's not really important for now. That'll come down later.
I think after the big work on our second album, I think we're in like that space of like, what is the third album gonna look like? We're all exploring our own thing. Like we're all talented and got our own things going on.
Also, like not even joking around about the unemployment thing. I think we all just spent a year like working hard at our jobs, and then now that we're kind of like unbirthing ourselves from that, is like we're figuring out like, all right, how much can we actually put together now that we don't spend all of our energy, at a fucking job that kills your soul, like right? Like we can all agree on that.
It's factually correct.
Shout out Target.
No, but I think there's especially since most of the second record was written even before like Jake was in the band, like we never all had the opportunity to really get all of our creative juices into a thing. So then, and even some of the more other creative stuff that we were planning to try to throw in there didn't get to go on there. So or can't because it doesn't quite fit. So like there's always going to be things that we're always have this creativity that we can't put on certain things, so it's got to go elsewhere. Right. Or maybe it doesn't quite fit the band, like a noise rock thing or totally orchestral thing or whatever shit I'm peddling. Mm-hmm. But like maybe that doesn't work for what we're doing here. There's no reason why, we've all had this discussion too, we can't branch out and try other things while still maintaining the core that is this. Mm-hmm. And we've had we had this like great trip to Pennsylvania last year, I think it was. Is that launch or was it 23?
23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where we played or that we went to?
No.
The one that we played. Was that 23?
That was 23.
Okay.
I don't think that was 24.
So okay.
I don't think.
So Launch Music Festival. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So we went there one year to just check it out, and then we signed up, and then we ended up playing the following year. And all of us as a band, it was like kind of our first real full band, fully amped up trip. And we got an Airbnb and we're all just hanging out and talking and stuff. We just had a genuine conversation about how no matter what we're doing, we want to do it together. Yeah. Like we genuinely just love playing with each other. And that is something that, as I'm sure we can all attest to, in being in other bands or having other people and stuff like come in and out or whatever, like it's truly something special when you have that, like finding all the diamonds in the rough and getting them all together in a room, being like, I could do this for as long as everybody else wants to do this, And it feels great, and that's why I know at least we don't have any plans to go defunct or disband or anything like that. Like we're just gonna keep going strong because we want to play with each other in any way, shape, or form, whether that's Pathmaker stuff or cover stuff. Mm-hmm. We'll still be at it. You'll still see us.
We'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have noticed, and I have said before, that it's something I'm seeing more now with bands, is that you're tighter. It's not just four people in a room together playing music together because this is where you were led. You're genuinely friends outside of your band. You enjoy spending time with people, and like that's what makes the chemistry in the band so much more
apparent. Is that like if you can tell, like, these are not just four people that like playing together, they're like genuinely appreciate each other as human beings. The music is better, the vibe is better, what you can pick up on an album is better. Like, I think that's an awesome thing that you guys have.
Cool. Yeah. I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
Can I say?
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap things up for us. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. I've been looking forward to this for a long time now.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to come back on, by all means, just hit me up and I'll get you back on whenever you want.
Sure, that'd be
It has
awesome.
been a true pleasure.
Mm.
But again, thank you so much, and thoughts and prayers with Jake, and hopefully he pulls through this.
He'll be
I don't know.
alive someday, somewhere. We'll find him again.
But guys, thank you again, and for everyone listening, this has been Pathmaker. We have Yogi, James, and Evelyn with us. This has been Face Music Podcast. Have a good night.
Night.
Thank you so much to Pathmaker for coming on the show. It was a lot of fun getting to know about the band, about all of you individually, and R.I.P. Jake. I can't wait to meet you at MGR, dude. You are all welcome back on the show at any time. Everybody, please go check out Pathmaker. They are so talented. They're amazing songwriters, and they deserve all of your support. That about wraps it up, guys. Thank you for your time and support. Everybody who listens, all the interactions on social media, who tells their friends to listen. I love you all, and I appreciate you more than words can say. Again, the easiest and, quite frankly, the cheapest way for someone to support a friend or family member's business ventures is to just help get the word out. I do this for everybody in my life who starts something up. Whether it be Nikki Chooch, wrestling. He used to front Burn Your Bridges. He's a good friend of mine. Whether it be my sister trying to start a travel agency, or when she was doing baking. It takes no effort to tell people that you support them. So please, all I'm asking for, share the page, like and share a post. Tell a friend about something that I said, or a band that you heard on the podcast. Go get tickets to a show, or stream the music that you hear. If you're watching on YouTube, just obliterate that subscribe button. It goes such a long way. Thank you for tuning in, and I really hope to see you again on the next one. You've been listening to the Face Music Podcast. Be well, everybody. Be safe, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.